Chat, look at what you fucking did. As a consequence of you all being belligerent and disagreeable during the Mexican presidential election segment. Oh, hello, Pigeon. Now I've gotten a bunch of emails from people who are like, I'm so sorry about chat. Let me explain to you the entire history of Mexico, of Mexico. Got a lot of emails to go through now. Hello, Pigeon. Pigeon opened the door all the way, like, with her head. She doesn't normally do that. She put her feet on it? Oh, that's cute. Can you close the door? All right. Indian election today. Indian election today, King. Indian election today, King. I got 30 uninterrupted seconds into stream before a cat distracted me. That's great. Are we going to talk about Biden trying to pick up Republican voters? Lol. You want to be more specific? Oh, here's another cat being distracting. All right, Ruben, can you leave on your own, or do I have to open the door for you? I'm just closing the door. We're doing it right away. Right away. I've literally been sitting here and doing emails for like 30 minutes, and they've been totally fine. And then I start streaming, instantly they start zipping around. Bro dressed like he went on a trip to the Serengeti. I like these a lot. I like them. I like my little, you know, like drape twill safari, you know, kind of like I should have like a cap with netting on it kind of look. I like them. I think it's cute. Love looking like a background character in Jurassic Park. No, Mistress Lynn, don't worry. That was from Thana. That was well-intentioned. I saw Pompeius. Bro looks like he's about to do Indiana Jones audition. Yeah. Excuse me. I think those shirts look very nice. Yeah. With the Goombella cosplay, you got to get that red tie thing. The ascot? Yeah, a little bandana. Buck Mason sells those. Why are you dressed like a tour guide? Okay, all right, dial it. It's not a very exceptional outfit, okay? Every once in a while, I look in the mirror and I think, okay, I look plain and ordinary, but well-dressed. And then I go into chat, and chat's like, yo, is that something other than a graphic t-shirt? You look crazy, dog. You go outside looking like that? That's fucking wild. It reminds me of that time I wore that one Western shirt, the white Western shirt, and people lost their fucking minds. I mean, it's a Western shirt. It's not exactly, like, groundbreaking. People lost their fucking minds. It's crazy. I love that shirt. Yeah, the only problem with that shirt for stream is I shouldn't wear shiny white reflective fabric for stream because it literally fucking blows out the the camera. He does look like a tour guide? No. Now I look like a tour guide. I guess I just look like a nerd now. Nobody really buttons shirts like this all the way up unless they're wearing it with a tie. And you probably shouldn't wear it with a tie. You look like off-duty cop. Nice try, close, but no. No off-duty cop has ever worn this outfit. You're thinking of polo shirts, not short-sleeve button-up shirts. Short-sleeve button-up shirts are more associated with engineers, if anything, though they would wear short-sleeve button-up Oxford shirts, not short-sleeve button-up draped twill shirts. Why say anything if you don't know, man? People just throw phrases around like crazy. Yeah, oh man, professor vibes, and I'm wearing like a fucking propeller hat. Like, what do you mean? I'd say more mathematician, but sure, it's a STEM field thing. When buying button-up shirts like that, is it true that if the bottom hem is straight, it means it's okay to have untucked? And if it's curvy, it means it needs to be tucked in? No such specific rule. The bottom hem for this is curvy. You should tuck the shirt in if it's too long. Yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch of like, I don't know, preferences and rules around that, but whatever you want. As a general rule, the only shirts that you never, ever, ever want to tuck in are camp collar shirts. You should never tuck those in. Like Hawaiian shirts, because those are usually cut to be like a perfect box. They're not meant to be tucked in. What pants besides cargo shorts go with a shirt like that? This goes with like pretty much anything, man. Honestly. Though cargo shorts are a pretty great fit. You know I don't have cargo shorts? I love how Vosh streams must always begin with chat judging the fit of the day. Yeah, it's not even an interesting fit. Like, I just show up in a fucking, you know? Yeah. The oldest house in the U.S. is currently for sale. No kidding. For only $800,000, 2,500 square feet. 17th century home. It was built before America was even its own country. God damn. The current owners have meticulously restored and maintained this home for the last 31 years. That's crazy. Show pic? Oh, yeah. Look at that, huh? Move outside the city, you get all this for 800 grand. Probably super inconvenient to live in, though. Like, there's probably a lot of modern amenities. House flippers would love to destroy this. Me buying this house so that I can, like, undo everything, replace the floorboards with, like, a distressed gray, paint the walls gray, trim white, and then put it on the market for twice the price. Let's go. Fuck millennial gray. Yeah. Remove the beams in the ceiling. I don't know if you can remove those. What's millennial gray? You've seen it. Don't worry. I think I talked about this on stream before, but I remember reading a blog post where somebody was talking about how nobody makes rooms in houses for a specific purpose anymore. Like, every room is just a box that you're meant to move furniture into. Nothing is constructed with the specific purpose. I guess maybe like the kitchen, because it has the natural gas. Like, you know, it's kind of designed for that. But otherwise, it doesn't really... Everything's just a little box. Housing in general just isn't treated as permanent anymore. Yeah, people are pretty much expected to rent. What's wrong with this house? I didn't say anything. I mean, it's not a matter of what's wrong with the house. It's just the house is old as fuck, right? Look at it. Aesthetically, I mean, what's wrong with it? I don't know. It's a preference thing. Wow. Not even installing an authentic 17th century fridge. Okay. Thought we were doing restoration, but whatever. You have to paint this fridge like wood. You know what I mean? You have to give it like a wood grain kind of look. God damn, dude. Look at this. Where's the icebox with the salted meats? Isn't it crazy that for a really long time, the way you kept stuff cool was there would be ships that would go out to the Arctic and they would cut up ice into blocks and then bring it back down to like London and cut it up into little blocks and sell it, and you would just keep it in a cooler and put it in your drinks. And it was like, yeah, I'm wealthy. I have ice cubes. That's not true. That can't be. That's true. Completely true. Arctic ice harvesting, 19th century. The ice trade, also known as the frozen water trade, was a 19th and early 20th century industry centering on the east coast of the US and Norway, large-scale harvesting and transport and sale of natural ice. Look at this. This is real, man. Bathe in the history. Look at this. They had these big ice hooks they'd use to drag it along the ground. This was a full-on thing. How did it not melt? Because they'd go during the winter time. They'd go up there where there was tons and tons of ice to harvest, and then they would bring it back when it was cold enough that it wouldn't melt in their stores. They'd get it in like cellars in the ship. I mean, you know, I'm sure a lot of it melted. Would you buy ice if you had to? I wonder how much it cost. Wealthy members of the European elite. Tudor shipped ice to the Caribbean Isle of Martinique. Man, you know that shit had to be valuable. The Caribbean Isle? Oh my God. The citizens of New York City and Philadelphia became huge consumers of ice during their long, hot summers. Additional ice was harvested from the Hudson River in Maine to fulfill the demand. God damn. Was there no way to actually freeze ice domestically back then? Nope. Up until refrigeration, like basically modern refrigeration tech, you know? There was literally no way to remove heat from a system. That was just not technology that we had. It's pretty easy to add heat to a system. But before that, there was this method. How was ice made before the invention of the refrigerator? Oh, yeah, you make an ice house. Yeah. You try to, like, construct an environment where a bunch of water freezes, and then you take it. But there was no way to just remove heat from a system. F? Little f? Little f. My grandpa's first job was delivering ice. Well, probably not under these conditions. Ice manufactured near Allahabad in 1828 by skimming ice from water-filled pots. Dude, this is just wild to me. This looks like it's so inefficient. First of all, why the top of little pots? Second of all, what environment are you in where ice is freezing on top of the water, but you're all shirtless? What are you doing? What's happening here? Refrigeration did exist back then, it just wasn't widespread. Oh, artificial refrigeration began in the mid-1750s, developed in the early 1800s. In 1834, the first working vapor compression refrigeration using the same technique as air conditioner system was built. I didn't know that. Okay, my apology. I thought it was a little later than that. My guess is that the earlier versions of this technology were very inefficient and expensive compared to, like, just sending a ship up to a frozen river, you know? Ice houses existed in the 300 BC. I mean, that's not really what we're talking about. Excuse me. I mean, you need to compress stuff. You can do that mechanically. Compress water? You can't compress water. Why did it take so long to invent AC then? Well, you have to do that in kind of like a big scale for it to be useful, right? Colin used a pump to create a partial vacuum over a container of diethyl ether, which then boiled, absorbing heat from the surrounding air. The experiment created a small amount of ice, but had no practical application for the time. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, I know what an ice house is, guys. We're talking about refrigeration, Son of Ra. We're talking about refrigeration. Vapor compression refrigeration cycle, production of ice. A similar attempt was made in 1842 by an American physician who worked to work a prototype, but it was a commercial failure. Please look up Windcatcher. No! You're all talking about, I'm talking about refrigerators, and I look in chat, icebox. Hey, what about this other thing? What about ice houses? We're talking about refrigerators. ADHD motherfuckers. I took my Adderall this morning. Get on that shit. We're looking at fridges. Bask in the fucking majesty of the fridge. We're not talking about other stuff right now. Why are we talking about refrigerators? Like, I don't mind, but what's the context? Rewind the VOD! So you can find there is no context. Ice houses were large-scale fridges in ancient Iran. No, they weren't. A fridge removes heat from a system, not just is a cold box to put things in. You people have no attention span, man. You can never just appreciate what's in front of you. It's always like, hey, can we divert to my topic? You must be insufferable to talk to in social situations. Oh, that's a great story about how your dog beat cancer. You know what that reminds me of? The video game I've been playing. Come on! Stay on topic. Apparently there were ice famines. That's a funny term. An ice famine was a scarcity of commercial ice, usually during the hot summer months, common before widespread use of the fridge, often resulted in widespread spoilage of food and medicines, and in some instances in death from heat stroke. Yeah, that makes sense. But that's not refrigeration, Posadish John. I mean refrigeration. Hey, I'm sorry your dad died. That reminds me of a time a dad died in a show I've been watching. True. Why are people giving Rishi Sunak grief for this one? Honestly, I think he's got his shit on here. Unlike you guys, he's wearing a sweatshirt that actually fits, not some baggy piece of shit, like in black, you know? No, I think he's got it on here. This is actually one of the best dressed instances of like a politician candid photo I've seen in a while. Motherfuckers wearing sneakers with jeans and a sweatshirt. Perfect. Looking good. It's the posture. I think we're reaching a little bit here. You know? You'd think a billionaire could dress better, though. There's nothing wrong with how he's dressing. I don't think that billionaires have an obligation to dress up in a frock coat when they go outside. Plus, he's color matching with the shoes. Yeah, VGG could never. It's because the jeans and shoes are almost a one-for-one. Ooh, nice try, actually. But these shoes right here are New Balance on the Virgin. These ones don't have the N on them, you see. These are dark wash jeans. These are medium wash jeans. And this is a black sweatshirt, and this is a white heathered gray sweatshirt, you know. Well, if you observe the differences. Just enjoy the meme and mock the billionaire ruining the UK. You know, honestly, the UK is so cooked, I don't even know how much you can blame this on Rishi Sunak. It honestly just kind of feels like a sinking ship and a bunch of people are taking turns, like, playing at being captain. Like, what is the Labour Party going to do to reverse the ship sinking? Didn't Rishi Sunak, like, threaten to ban cigarettes? Like, what are they on about, you know? It doesn't seem like there's even... Yeah, the new smoking laws. The smoking ban that he tried to put forward that failed because it was stupid. Sunak planned to do a New Zealand-style smoking ban for anyone born after 2009. That'll just make it cool again. The latest in British attempts to try to not be European anymore. He's also shipping migrants to Uganda. Wasn't it Rwanda? No, wait. Was it Uganda? I forget, actually. That plan's not going through anyway. I mean, he tried. Yeah, it was Rwanda? Okay. Where does that end, though, Vosh? Yeah, things are bad and getting worse, but it's been on the slide for a while. Yeah, that's the thing. I still genuinely don't know what the future looks like for the UK. I mean, I don't know the future in any case, but, like, with the UK specifically, it genuinely feels like it's irreparably fucked. Yeah, like, I just don't see a path out, man. Not enough of a hook, Substance Soda. He just brought it back up again yesterday in the debate. Do I even care about the debate, man? It's like, why watch the debate when we know the outcome? There's no universe in which Kid Starver doesn't win.
ITV debate in Wales.
The Prime Minister, a little bit of...
That things are terrible.
That's not the damn video. That's not the damn video. Where's the debate? Where's the debate? Why can I not? It's all clips. Where's the debate in full? Where's the full debate? Live watch the ITV leaders debate. Okay. What the fuck?
Prime Minister.
Just to both of
Energy.
Okay.
And ready to go.
areas outside of. Okay.
But the British, it's unfair
Just what,
to
look,
answer
can I-
that question to keep.
Man, search functions suck now. Dude, I can never get over this, man. The UK GDP. Look at that. I mean, it's not just the UK, like France is in the same position, but for a bunch of Europe, the line stopped going up at the 2008 financial crisis, and it just hasn't moved since then. It's just been nonstop flagging since then, you know? There was just this period of growth from 9/11 to the 2008 financial crisis that meant something, and then after that, imagine losing India and then they outdid you. Well, keep in mind, India has like fucking 50 times the population, but yeah. India will be a superpower, though. The 2,000 pound line comes up a lot and has been completely debunked across our media today. Yeah. What is Romania cooking? Romania has been exploding lately in GDP, which is, again, weird to me because they don't seem to have the kind of cultural clout in their area that you would expect given that. But no, yeah, look, this is 2015 right here. Since then, their GDP has doubled, basically, in just the past decade. Pretty remarkable stuff. I mean, you know, a better recovery than their neighbors and much of the rest of Europe, certainly. They have been cooking. They stole GDP from surrounding countries. European racism. This is what I mean, by the way, about Britain being like more naturally resistant to fascism. I fully believe Boris Johnson was a fascist, or at the very least, like an enabler of fascism. But if this was America, Nigel Farage would be like the main conservative guy for your country, you know? In America, there would be no room for this kind of like wheedling, posh, you know, aristocrat bullshit. Like this like civility politics, you know, died in tradition nonsense. None of this would run in America. So in a way, it's kind of like an insulatory layer, you know, a sort of protective barrier, at least for now. Farage is rising in the polls. Well, that's not surprising, man. I mean, fucking look at what the Tories have been up to. He'll probably win this. Farage isn't going to win the upcoming election. He's rising in the polls. He's not going to beat Labour. 5-minute video on the 2K tax thing. I don't need to. I know it's bullshit. And who cares? Fucking who cares? The country's a sinking ship anyway. Okay, fine, I'll look.
Yeah, this election campaign is still relatively young, but I think we've already encountered what might be the most annoying saga throughout this. And it is a bit of a saga, okay, but bear with me. I'm going to explain where that £2,000 figure that we've heard about from the Prime Minister actually comes from, but also a few other things to their spending and their tax policies if they were to get into government, so the next 4 years. And there are various things in there you might reckon. 2,000.
Wow, I just realized that I don't care. There is not a single human being alive, by the way. There is not a single citizen who understands how taxes work, okay? There are still, unironically, Americans who believe that you don't want to make more money because it'll put you in a new tax bracket. That is the, like, IQ level we're dealing with when we talk about taxes and the understanding that people have of taxes. So, you know, you can't... It's genuinely insane. Yeah, it's genuinely insane. You know, the only time that logic actually works is with welfare. Did you know that? In America, there are some welfare programs that are structured so that if you make more money, like with your paycheck, you get the program cut and you end up losing money overall, which is a disincentive against getting a better job because welfare is terribly structured. It's horribly structured, designed to keep people in poverty. Same with disability, same with... welfare benefits for marriage, where if you marry, you don't get like 2 times the allocation of welfare, like proportional to your income, meaning that you can marry and then make less money, even though marrying usually like gives you better tax benefits. That's all the UK here. Yeah, it's deliberately done that way, and they do it because they hate you. They hate you and they want you dead. Guys batch cook like it's not normal to heat your food. I don't think you guys understand. Heating bill, like electricity bills have been so bad in the UK that people have literally like not been using their appliances. It's insane. It's like a fucking third world country over there. It's like in some places, it's crazy.
And it may not be so gentle next time. We now turn to another.
Why would time of day affect how much money you spend on cooking? Do they have surge pricing and utilities? Yes! Yes, there were people who were getting billed like thousands of pounds. Like an ungodly amount. Why are energy prices so high? Are they still going up? From bionic.co.uk. Energy price increased about 100%. Energy price cap. No price cap on business energy. Where was the... I saw a figure that was being... Wholesale electricity costs around £120 per megawatt hour. Currently, wholesale electricity around 90 per megawatt hour. What's the cost? USA electricity cost megawatt hour. Around $30 per megawatt hour. 4 times that price. And sometimes there's surge pricing where it's like, oh, here, it costs 5 times normal or whatever. There were stories about people who were like losing their savings because they accidentally had electricity running during this like sudden peak in surge pricing. More than that, $1 is about 1.25 pounds. Oh yeah, true. So more like 5 times, yeah. Good for the economy? Yes. Is there a reason to be against immigration other than racism? No. Sorry, it really is that simple, like 95% of the time. Immigration is complicated. There are like specific... You have to be careful with it. It's a complicated issue. I'm not saying it's always simple. Like sometimes it's difficult to integrate large numbers of immigrants. But overwhelmingly, yes, having immigrants is the economically correct choice for the UK. Massively so. Yeah.
We will have a
Why Rwanda? Racism. Literally just that.
So the simple question for Keir Starmer is, what will you do with people who come here illegally? What will you do with them? Well, very simply, what will you do?
Give them an education, man, if they don't already have one. Put them to work. Put them bitches to work. That's what we do with the Mexicans. Oh, you want to come over to America? You want to bring us fucking chalupas? You want to bring us street tacos? Fine. But you're going to be working for $3 an hour and the agricultural center, and your boss is going to threaten to deport you if you ever complain about the brutal violations of working rights that you and your family endures. And you're going to send 90% of your income as remittances over to your family in Mexico while you sleep in a dorm room with 18 other undocumented immigrants. So just do that in the UK. Okay, don't actually do that. But like, you know, I don't know. Maybe let him work a little bit. I don't know. I mean, just a suggestion. Yeah, immigrants are crazy good for the economy, you know? A fully grown adult human being, a grown-ass man from, I don't know, Syria or Poland or fucking North Macedonia is coming over like a 23-year-old guy with a strong back and strong hands. Put that motherfucker to work. You getting that shit for free, dude. You kidding me? If a baby's born, you have to spend 18 years coddling the little fuck before it can do anything. You just got a worker for free. That's crazy. In all likelihood, the UK isn't getting Polish immigrants because of economic conditions, living standards improving in Poland. Yeah. Where is it currently? I mean, there's the Syrian refugees or whatever. Where's, hold on. Where are UK's immigrants from? Is it like North Africa? What are we talking here? India, Romania, and China. Why Romania? Isn't their GDP booming? Well, India's not surprising. Where are all of their Wahhabists coming from? Poland cheap labor was 20 years ago. How the fuck are people getting there from China? I was just looking up immigrants, not undocumented immigrants. Let me look up undocumented immigrants. Or from Asian countries. That's very helpful, Pew Research Center. Thank you. Or from Asian countries, huh? That's crazy. 1 in 5 were from sub-Saharan African countries. About 1 in 10 were from Middle East, North Africa countries. Can we be real for a sec? I'm going to be really real, and maybe people in chat are going to accuse me of being unwoke, but I'm being serious about this, okay? You know what? Let's acknowledge the fucking elephant in the room. Yes, your average immigrant from the Middle East, North Africa, and Sub-Saharan Africa are probably not going to be very culturally aligned with the average resident of the UK. Honestly, they're going to be pretty fucking backwards. I'm not going to tiptoe around that. I'm not one of those delusional lefties who thinks if you go to the average Sub-Saharan African country, I'm going to walk up to some guy and I'm going to be like, yo, Steven Universe, trans rights, working class power. He's going to be like, yeah, man, for sure. I'm down with all those things. No, I understand. Okay. Different cultures. And I'm going to say it a little bit, you know, in a lot of cases, worse cultures. You want to see women's rights, gay rights in these countries? I'm not dancing around it. I do think some cultures are better. You know, the difference is that like white Western chauvinists think that better culture means white people. And I think better culture means willing to integrate, you know, people regardless of their color. Kind of a fundamental difference there. I think we have probably better gay nightclubs over here in Seattle. I'm just going to say, if you want to make good citizens, good UK citizens of the undocumented immigrants from North Africa, South Sub-Saharan Africa, whatever the fuck, you know, if you want to get the fuck on over there, right? Then you need to integrate them. And that means you need to extend an open outward hand to them. That's what we did with the Italians and the Irish. I mean, mostly because they weren't black, but you know, if you want them to become like an integral part of your culture, you have to respect them and meet them at their level to an extent, you know? I do not think any humans would choose to... look, I'll put it this way. People are born Amish. Nobody joins the Amish, okay? People are born with a sub-Saharan African attitude towards like minority rights. I don't think anyone chooses that shit. If you give people an equal chance in the UK or America or anywhere else, and you're like, hey, look, I disagree with a lot of your values, but at the end of the day, we're both residents, let's do our best. I think people born into that environment, born into it, like the children of those immigrants, are going to go, I can go with my, like, culturally isolated, enclave-driven, sub-Saharan African parents who hate, like, Western degeneracy and have no fun and are losers, or I can fucking, I don't know, top a twink. I can stop and think, or I can top a twink. They're gonna top a twink! They're gonna top a twink. That's all I'm saying, man. I'm not pretending that immigrating, like getting immigration from sub-Saharan Africa isn't hard. Of course it's difficult. Big cultural differences there, okay? But you can work with that. You can work with that. It's not impossible. You're assuming they won't just become their parents? I'm not assuming, I know. Because I live in America where we do have way more like cultural integration. And I grew up around a fuck ton of young Korean and Chinese people whose parents are like hardline conservative racists and their children are chill as fuck. I grew up in LA, man. There are so many enclaves in LA that are made up of older first-generation immigrants whose children then learn English as like a second or first language and end up being totally fucking normal. We have data on this, like towards like the children moving towards the mean and cultural values. It happens. You just have to accept them, you know? You have to accept them. What about the Turkish TikTok guy living in the UK whose mother was secular and he argued with her? Yeah, it's me, Mario. That's exactly my point. In London, they have really regimented enclaves. They don't do cultural acceptance. People in the UK don't think of the UK as a melting pot. They don't think of it as a big, beautiful Caesar salad of cultures. Over in America, there's a lot more integrate. I know that sounds crazy because everyone thinks like America's the most racist country on earth. It's fucking not, man. I'm really sorry. America's one of the less racist countries, and you can demonstrably prove it with like a million polls where it's like, hey, how do you feel about people of different races? And America's consistently one of the least racist. And that's because a lot of our racism is baked into, one, specifically African-American antagonism, and two, because a lot of it is baked into classism. And a lot of the way we do our racism is very class-driven, where there will be racist white people who will pretend that their racism is actually disdain for like low-class blacks or whatever, when in reality it's a race thing. But like, I'm not saying that's good, by the way. I'm just saying that like we do more to integrate people from our enclaves, you know? Man, I grew up in LA. LA has so much like, LA has so many enclaves, but the children in those enclaves go on to be like regular ass guys. It's honestly really inspiring. There's so much racism and segregation in LA, but a lot of it is at like a generational level. And then you see the kids, and a lot of the kids are just like, yeah, they're fucking Americans, man. It's good. But you need to reach out to them for that to work. You need to reach out to them for that to be possible. No, I agree. The UK is especially bad with this Hungamaster. In Canada, the term melting pot is used as a negative term. Yeah. Public education's a huge melting pot towards the mean. Yeah, it is, 100%. Let me see if I can find that. Polling, country, neighbor of different race. I think that was the question that I'm thinking of. Here we go. A fascinating map of the world's most and least racially tolerant countries. Right here. Share that answered people of another race when asked to pick from groups of people they would not want as neighbors. And over here you have like Argentina, Brazil, US, Canada, Norway, Australia, and just a few others in the dark blue, as in like very few people said that. But if you look over here, like France, racist as shit. Admittedly, right over here, the UK is also dark blue, so maybe this contradicts my narrative a little bit. You know, maybe we could describe it as a different kind of racial bias, where like in the UK, they won't outwardly say they're against people of another race, but they still don't do much work to like culturally integrate. Also, this is from 2013, before the Syrian refugee crisis, so I'd be willing to bet in Europe these are probably worse now. Ew. Yeah. How's Pakistan blue but India red? I hate to tell you, man, Pakistan's pretty bad, but India's literally ruled by Hitler right now. Like, India's pretty bad, man. I gotta say, in terms of like national culture, I'll take China over India 500 times over. China may be more totalitarian and regimented, but holy shit, India is fucking on their goddamn... Yeah, we'll talk about the election. We'll talk about the election. In the UK, it's less about race and more about economic refugees, asylum seekers, and Muslims. Yeah, it's the framing of the question can massively change how it is. India is the worst country today, IMO. Every time I hear anything about India, it's either them being Hitlerite or like another gang rape of a woman. It's not good, man. It's not good. It's not good. All right. Loads of actual terrorists. He mentions it later, like blowing up plane shit. Yeah, I don't know much about his prosecutorial past, but interesting. You're missing an important point here. When Sunak says he's anti-immigration, he's talking about deporting asylum seekers. Keir was calling him a liberal because he allows a record high amount of legal immigration. Yeah, because that's what it is now. We're doing the same thing in America, where it's like we're treating asylum seekers and illegal immigrants the same. Which is just not how it works. Please look at this. The UK is actually really pro-immigration. I don't believe that. If that's the case, why are the two PM candidates arguing about who's more anti-immigrant? Without realizing it, Britain has become a nation of immigrants. Another surprise that's very good at assimilating people. Okay, I don't believe this. Now I'll never get a chance to believe it. Also, this looks like it's narrative bullshit, you know. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Is Keir Starmer's collar too low respective to her shirt? What? No? It doesn't spread out far enough. Ideally, you want a spread collar that reaches the lapel of your jacket because it gives a kind of clean, elegant swoop. That's going to get the round of applause.
So that's a yes.
Nice. Okay, there we go. Love the UK, man. That's right. If I'm forced to by those blokes in the European Commission, I will take us out of the human rights thingy, so we can deport people to Rwanda. That's cool.
Yes. I've been crystal clear. I will choose our country's security ahead of membership of a foreign court every single time.
I mean, it makes sense, man. They voted for Brexit. Fuck it. Man, I try not to do this, but I really can't help but feel like you guys deserve all the shit you get. I know that's not fair because a lot of Americans voted for Trump, and I'm like generalizing broadly, but holy fuck, man. Oh my god. You do this all the time, lol. I really hate the UK. I get angry emails about it. Fuck off. It was a referendum, dog! You should all, like, you all could have... Dude, in a sane country, after the Brexit referendum, all of the no voters would have been, like, taking to the streets like the fucking purge, going after the leave voters. Like, in a sane country, you guys would have woken up the next day, and you people would have been, like, war paint on your face, running around with a baseball bat with nails in it. Thank you. Thank you, Labour Party. You know... Why bother being to the left of anyone on anything, right? Do you agree with the Tories' plan to deport people and process their asylum in a third country, like, say, Rwanda? Yeah, sure, if we can do it, like, legally. All right, well, there you go. What's the difference between these two parties again? Can somebody tell me? Like, genuinely, what are they planning to do with the Labour Party that's better? Keir Starmer wants to nationalize the trains. Yeah, but he's not going to. Yeah, where's Corbyn? Bring me back Corbyn, man. The Labour Party is being run by the people who worsened anti-Semitism accusations so they could oust Corbyn because they didn't like the idea of Tony Blair's party being taken over by an actual socialist. Corbyn was not better. Corbyn was absolutely better. Are you fucking kidding me? Then Kid Starver? Are you kidding me? Corbyn was a principled socialist. I didn't agree with all of his foreign policy takes, man, but compared to this guy? Hey, genuine question. Do you, to any Europeans who are watching, do you think you matter? Like in a military situation globally? You guys realize that, like, if there's any kind of nuclear war breakout, you guys are literally irrelevant, right? We have an so we're America. We have the nukes. You might have some nukes. We have the nukes. We have nuclear submarines all across the world. We have the defense apparatus to use them and target them. We have shit locked up in Area 51 that you have no idea what we're on about, okay? You have no fucking idea what we're capable of. Do you guys seriously think you're relevant on the global stage? You're a rounding error when compared to our military force. Why do you guys pretend? I mean, I'm in favor of you guys maintaining some kind of domestic force, but what is this with, like, nuclear deterrency? You're not the deterrent, motherfucker. We're the deterrent! Love it when Vush's American chauvinism comes out. It's not American chauvinism. This is literally true. It's not a joke. Out of the top 5 air forces in the world, the US has 4 of them. We're crazy, man. Yeah, the US Air Force, the US Navy, then the Russian Air Force, then the US Army Aviation, then the US Marine Corps. We're up there, man. We're topping the charts. A lot of Europeans don't trust that America would back them in case of war. I'm not against them maintaining a, like, national defense, but if things came down to nukes, it's not like London would get nuked and America would be neutral on it. Any nukes that fly that threaten the UK threaten the world. Only the UK and France, and between us we only have 500 compared to Russia's 6,000. I wouldn't trust Russia's 6,000 nuke number too much for what it's worth. You can do deterrence with just a few nukes, right? Like, the count doesn't really matter. You want a few hundred, you know, you want to pepper them good, right? We also have pretty decent, like, anti-ICBM weapons these days. Not, like, super reliable, but probably enough to knock down a significant number of ICBMs that go flying. So, you know, you don't want to just fire, like, 3 of them. You literally can't say that in a UK election. I get that. I just think that it's kind of insane to talk about nuclear deterrency as the UK. I just think that's psycho. I also think it worsens relations with Russia. I know things are bad right now, but, like, Russia's always threatening nuclear war. Don't join them in that. Don't make it out to be like you're both equally unhinged, you know? Oh, collision course. We have a global nuclear umbrella. We've got nuclear submarines fucking everywhere. Those shit are always, that shit's always on deployment, you know? They're always out there. And, like, do voters want to hear this? Aren't they more concerned with food? A lot of European voters are very anxious about Russia right now. Yeah, Comrade Robin Hood, I don't know. I just think ignoring them is better, but maybe. I never understood that. Is it like nuclear torpedoes? They fire missiles. The nuclear torpedoes go up to the surface, and then they fire a big missile, usually with a range of a few hundred miles. The point of a nuclear submarine is that they're like the guaranteed endgame because you can't destroy them in a first strike. If you attack early and you attack well, you might be able to destroy a bunch of ground-based missile silos across the heartland of America, but you could never take out the, like, dozens and dozens of nuclear submarines that would just, like, reach the surface and fire, you know? They fire straight up. There's like a silo for it that fires straight up. That's their whole purpose. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't even need a surface. I would. That'd be a pretty remarkable feat of engineering. A rocket with hundreds of miles of range that can operate equally well through water and then through air. That's like future tech shit. Maybe through a bit of water, but you know, if they're like a little while down, is that possible? I don't even know, but that sounds like crazy shit to me. They do that already though? Hold on. Do nuclear subs need to surface to fire? No? Holy shit! Okay. But only at like shallow depths. But the depth is classified? I guess that makes sense. I didn't even know that. That's crazy. No, all subs fire at minus 300 meters. That's not true. 300 meters? That's crazy, dude. Huh. Look, I'll look more into it later. They don't really have the presidential riz. They wouldn't make it in America. It'd be over for them. I don't care enough anymore, man. He's literally criticizing Stammer for being a human rights lawyer. Yeah. It's like Sunak is literally this like leech ghoul fucking making money off the demise of the UK, and you know, Keir Starmer not doing that. He has to come up with some kind of retaliation. Politics has fallen off so hard, SMH. No kidding. Imagine unironically paying attention to politics in this day and age. It's not surprising that the what is it, the Reform Party with Nigel Farage is getting up in the polls. I mean, the modern Labour Party isn't like nearly racist enough. I like how this is one of the first photos that comes up when you Google Nigel Farage. You know, they know what they're doing. Didn't he get milkshaked like just a little bit ago? On his first day of campaigning, he got like a clean milkshake hit. Woo! Nice. And then the news, like the Telegraph and stuff, were like, let's look into the woman who milkshaked Nigel Farage. Did you know she's a Corbyn supporting OnlyFans model and she's gorgeous? Like that's what they've been reporting. They've been reporting like, hey, you know, look at this. Woman 25 accused of chucking milkshake over Nigel Farage, unmasked as OnlyFans star. You know you just made her a millionaire, right? Like, hey, did you know the person who just did a very funny milkshaking of a fascist is a smoke show, you know? And she's got an OnlyFans where you can see her pussy. Presumably, I don't know that for sure, but like I assume that's probably what that's probably what she's up to on there. Go ahead and give her money. You know, she's gonna make a lot of money off that. Also, holy fucking collar gap, dude! That's not even that collar chasm. Oh my god. Men's tailoring is dead. Jesus, look at that. Yeah, the collar canyon. That suit deserved a milkshake. Yeah, she was doing him a favor, to be honest. Added to his drip. Your clothing looks better than that suit. I fucking hope so. All right. So that's the state of the UK right now, I guess. That's what we're up to. That's what we're up to. We're doing this. MPs urge under 16s UK smartphone ban at statutory ban in schools. Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I'm unironically getting red pilled on not giving young people any kind of internet access. It like the internet is getting worse and worse and worse. And I don't mean in terms of like you can see people being beheaded online or whatever, because that shit was around when I was a kid. I mean just in terms of the like constant, it's just like all ad slop and weird political grifters and niche subcultures that want to make money off you. It feels like there's less and less authentic shit, or at least you need to be old enough to kind of like understand how to navigate it all properly. It feels like the internet is getting much more malicious and predatory. This is a band-aid solution then? Yeah, I don't know if it would actually be fixed by not letting your kid use a phone or the internet until 16, but yeah. I don't know. I wish there was some kind of like kid-only internet. Like, because there's like YouTube Kids or whatever. I don't mean that bullshit. I mean like a walled off bit of the internet where it's just you can only use a couple of things and not like the whole thing. I don't know. I haven't really thought this through. Just because there's some stuff in the internet that's really, really important, like Wikipedia. Like you can learn a lot of XQC's chat. True. Kid-only internet. Aiden Ross at kick.com/Aiden Ross. Yeah, the I don't know, like I haven't really thought this through. I don't know. Parental controls, but parental controls don't work. Like, first of all, most parents don't know how to use them, and second of all, most kids can get around them, and third of all, they can't really account for all the changes. It's not that effective. I don't think. Easy enough to bypass. Indiana has passed a law to ban phones in school. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, dude. I kind of think that's a good thing. From the horror stories that I've heard from teachers, I genuinely kind of feel like I'm kind of agreeing with the whole phone should be banned in school thing. If there's an emergency or whatever, you can call the school office and the office can send somebody down to the... Like, you can survive life in school without a phone, right? Like, I don't actually think that's necessary day to day to fucking exist. It absolutely destroyed our school. It just is anyone getting an education anymore? Like, I'm not a huge believer in the sanctity of American education because it's shit, but it does. I'm hearing so many stories of like everyone just chat GPTing their way through every essay and nobody paying attention. It's like, I don't know, man. Jeez. Dumb phones only, maybe, like give them a Motorola Razr. See, yeah, that kind of thing sounds cool to me, I guess. Yeah. I mean, I go to community college, been okay for me. Yeah, but you're an adult now. My roommate is getting his master's degree and just chat GPTs every essay, Vosh. I hate it. Low trust society. Nobody believes in anything anymore. What age range are we talking about the ban? I'm not talking about a ban. I'm just talking about like raising your kids, But if you're banning it in school, like what are you really losing out on by not having smartphones in high school? I didn't have a smartphone in middle school. I mean, if I'm like distracted in class, I just like, I don't know, drew in the margins of my notebook. Majority Report went over a study out of Sweden that showed massive improvements doing it. Hold on. Sweden school study ban phones. Hopefully that brings it up. The impact of banning mobile phones in Swedish secondary schools. Okay, this seems relevant. The influential and only quantitative evaluation by Bell and Murphy, low cost but effective policy to improve student performance. Using similar empirical setup but with data from Sweden, we partly replicate the study. We increase the survey response rate of schools to approximately 75%. In Sweden, we find no impact of mobile phone bans on student performance. Oh, okay. Well, this one says there's no impact. So this clearly isn't the one the Majority Report went over. Holy shit, Vosh, this is straight up millennial / Gen X circle jerking. Damn, Madeline. All right, well, I'm glad that you fucking, took the time to look away from the Family Guy clips and the Subway Runner videos to type in my chat for a second. This isn't fucking millennial circle. You realize millennials, in a lot of cases, had smartphones in school, right? You're not that much younger than us, first of all. Second of all, what is this circle jerking? You seriously don't think there are any kind of widespread social consequences to everyone having the internet on them all the time, especially young, fucking neuroplastic, dipshit 14-year-olds? I don't know, man. when I was like in middle school, we had flip phones and that was a bit distracting, but for the most part, distractions were like drawing in class. But now it's just smartphone. If I was a teacher, man, I would like write people up for having their phones out in class. Fucking pay attention to me. Holy shit. Get over. We're like normalizing ADHD brain rot. You guys know that, right? Like no one has any attention spans anymore. And I say that as someone with no attention span. I'm not like making a moral judgment of this. I'm just saying factually that it is the case. Nobody can focus on anything. Half of you would kill yourself if you had to do chores for 5 minutes without Bluetooth earbuds or a podcast to listen to or music. Just doing it like silently or whatever, it would be over for you. You would be like sprinting for the road to fucking flatten yourself under a car's tires. I know you. On God? Yes, on God. You would be meeting God, and he would condemn you to hell. You would go up there to the pearly gates, and St. Peter would say, sorry, we don't accept ADHD-riddled fucking Zoomer dipshits. Go to hell. At least you'll be presented plenty of novelty down there. To be fair, people had radios. People did not use radios for that, man. Radios were something you sat down and listened to. People weren't carrying their radios like room to room, doing everything in their life all the time to them, listening to them in like the shower and everything. It's totally incomparable. Bringing the radio to school so you can listen to the ball game like while you're not listening to the lecture. Walkmans. Have you ever held a Walkman? Do you have any idea what they were like? I did. I held one. I had one. Yes? Then you should know that they're not comparable to modern smartphones. You're just saying shit, man. Nobody brought Walkmans in and pulled the headphones on to listen to music in class to ignore the teacher. Or if they did, the teacher's kind of slacking on the punishments. You're just saying shit. You're just saying shit. That's how my mom used her radio. She would blare music throughout the house. She did chores. You're waffling, dude. We're talking about school. And there is nothing in terms of like ADHD, attention deficit disorder, brain destroying, neuroplastic manipulating. Like nothing compares to the modern smartphone. If you think otherwise, you're genuinely delusional. You brought up chores, though. I'm talking about a general pattern of needing constant stimulation to do everything. I genuinely think that apart from the language differences, if you pulled somebody from the 16th century today, one of the biggest differences between us and them is they would be able to sit still. I mean it. I genuinely mean that. I think that if you got like some kid from like 1652 France and like he spoke English or whatever, and you were like, okay, now I'm going to go do something. Can you sit still in this room and relax for like 30 minutes? They could do that and it would be fine because their brain is used to that because they had much, much less stimulation back then. Nowadays, sit still for 30 minutes. It's suicide pact time, baby. I'm checking out. 30 minutes. We are about to employ a very permanent solution to a 30-minute problem. But that kid, I think he could have done it. Wow, we're so much better then because life is stimulation. I'm not making a moral argument. I am saying that people have shorter attention spans. This is demonstrably the case. Can you quit being defensive and assuming that anytime this factual statement is uttered, that it's like a boomer sitting in an armchair complaining about how everything is worse these days? This is just a fact, man. There's more microplastics in your balls than there were in people 100 years ago. That's also a fact. It's not a kids these days thing. I'm kids. I grew up with a smartphone, kind of, high school and onward. My brain is fucked. I can't do chores. How can you think I'm doing the boomer moralizing argument when I'm literally joking about how I'm right there with you? I take Adderall. What do you, like, you think I'm here being like, you're like, kids these days can't do shit. When I was a kid, I walked up fucking uphill both ways to go to school. I'm right there with you. Why are you pretending this is like a kids these days argument? These folks are just being contrarian. It's like the weed argument. You talk about reliance on marijuana destroying people's brains, and people are like, you're literally like Nixonite. You're like a drug war advocating boomer. And it's like, fuck, you're so defensive. Why are you so defensive? It's because they're used to arguing with their parents. You just ruined the subreddit for another week? Yeah. Hey, come on, leave weed out of this. It's because these fucks are so used to arguing with their parents, you know? They think I'm doing the thing again. Vosh, China will force children in elementary classrooms to sit still for hours, and if they move, they'll get punished harshly, and it's horrible. Yeah, I think that's child abuse. I think that's terrible. You know? Children should be allowed to... So one of the biggest problems with school environments for young people is that it encourages, like... It encourages rigidity where there should be none, and it allows for absent-mindedness where there shouldn't be any. You know? Like, kids want to zoom around and stuff. They want to do that, you know? Kids shouldn't be, like, sitting still on a desk or whatever. There should be, like, I don't know, beanbag chairs or whatever for them to relax while they talk. I don't know, something. Like, they're kids. They want to move around. They got the zoomies. They're like cats. Give them weed, exactly. Nice, Clan Rat. Well done. What do you think of gender-segregated schooling? Terrible idea. Horrible idea. Teacher from EU here. I don't know how it works in the US, but we're taught to make the lessons interactive enough so the kiddos don't even have the time to pull up the phone, which is quite good. American education's pretty bad, but, like, I don't know. I don't know much about, like... It varies a lot state by state, teacher by teacher. We don't have very strict... The only, like, strict national requirements we have is a loose curriculum and the fucking, like, Common Core shit or whatever. Like, there's a lot of bad policy layered on top of it, but we don't have, like, very strong teaching doctrine approaches that teachers get, like, normalized and taught into. Vosh, peasant boy from the 16th century could stay still. Also, Vosh, children shouldn't stay still. That's child abuse. Foxwell, you're getting one chance. Say psych. Like, that was a pretty dumbass argument where you're tenuously trying to connect two things that have no relationship. Say psych. It's your only hope. You're really, really reaching there, man. I'm waiting. I don't see a psych. Oh, man, I don't see a psych at all. I think they were being real. Oof. Well, you know what that means, folks. I'll hop to my alt. See ya. Are you so much of a problem chatter that you already have a prepared alt on the fucking proprietary website of a single streamer? What are you up to, man? Like, IP ban him? There we go. Might or might not work. There's ways around IP bans. You got to specify a time. Do I? I normally just right-click. There we go. Really, that was kind of harsh? No, it's not. If a person says something stupid and you're like, hey, do you want to get banned? And their response is, all right, jumping to my alt, then they should be permanently banned from every, like, they should never come back, ever. We're talking about, like, the worst humans alive. You need to understand that. Anyone with that reflexive response should be locked up in real life. Terrible vibes. Wretched vibes. You know that motherfucker was on their smartphone watching Family Guy clips rather than listening to, like, their 9th grade history teacher. Could you explain a little more? Their argument makes sense to me. Mr. Goodsock, say psych right now. Okay. Oh no, I'm sorry. Their argument was incoherent. I think forcing children to sit still, like, and punishing them if they move is child abuse. What does that have to do with a hypothetical where I say that a 16th century kid would be capable of sitting still? There's no relation between these factors. It's a desperate, flaccid effort to be contrarian with no, like, meat to it, you know? You see a lot of that in chat. Anytime you talk about anything that involves, like, a critique of social policy or, like, social standards, people who have never thought about it before get mindlessly defensive, and they start employing, like, defensive strategies that don't have much to do with what you said. It's DGG brain. No, it's not DGG brain, actually. It's a general, like, human tendency. People get really defensive. This is one of the reasons why a bunch of people will get really defensive about spanking, because their parents spanked them, and they don't want to believe their parents abused them, you know? Because spanking is just flatly the wrong thing to do. It is abuse to a child. It's also, let's be fair here, really common abuse. I think I got spanked like twice when I was a kid, so it wasn't exactly a habit. But I think those 2 times were bad. There's just no reason to do it, you know? I'm not going to defend it. Intellectually, it's like, okay, well, you know, my parents aren't perfect people, whatever. That's life. But you shouldn't defend it. But a lot of people will be like, you know, oh, my parents whooped my ass, so it couldn't have been bad because I turned out all right. And then they'll fucking run to the races for it. They'll start defending it really aggressively. They'll get really defensive. So children should be able to sit still, but it shouldn't be expected of them. Mr. Good Socks, I think that children should be able to sit still and, like, not have a super short attention span, but I don't think they should be locked in a building for 8 hours a day where they're regimentedly expected to be completely still regardless of, like, their feelings on the matter or whatever. We're also talking about kids of different ages. I would never ask a 6-year-old to sit still for, like, an hour. That'd be crazy. But schools ask them to do that, you know? But nowadays, you motherfuckers are 19 and you can't sit still. I'm 30 and I can't sit still. This isn't just a kid thing, man. I didn't grow out of being attention deficit. I kept being attention deficit. You know? And it is good to have a long attention span, right? It's just generally beneficial. It's good. Ooh, Thana, how'd you know? Thana, did you just check the fucking IP of Foxwell's account and go, like, found the other one and nuked it? Ooh. Mods are on the back end, man. White Nervosa's a smart person. Taking shots! No alts getting away with this shit. Get out of here. Oh, whoa, that's crazy. I'm looking at this alt's logs and they're a fucking psycho. Show? You find it. Show the logs. You know, we're talking about, like, phones in school. That's what this... Is this a segment? And that's what this is about. How do we get here? Who knows? All right, so unironically, I plan on doing the dumb phone plan for myself because I recognize the stress and danger that omnipresent internet access can do. But the other issue is it's not a good idea to outright ban smartphones at a legal level. Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's a really tricky situation to navigate. Aren't there types of phones these days that are meant to be, like, you can only use them for calls or something? Like, right now, there are companies that are marketing phones that are modern in their design, but they only can be used for texting or calling. Burners? No. They're not meant to be burner phones. They're just meant to be, like, here. It's called a keypad phone? Yeah. Best dumb phones 2024. Limited phones? Weird little design. I could never do this because my job is online and I kind of need to keep up with that. But I can understand people wanting to do this. $20 for a flip phone, man. That's crazy. Okay, can we all agree on at least one thing here? No unsupervised screen time for young kids. If your kid is like 3, 4, 5 years old, just leaving them alone with an iPad turned to YouTube Kids is insane. Genuinely like psycho shit, and you're being a bad parent. I'm calling out anyone watching right now if you think like, oh, I have a good reason for it. No, you know? Genuinely, you know, like it's not good. I feel like everyone I know got groomed as a kid online. This is going to be one of those generational things that I don't think people are going to recognize much in retrospect, but it is true that I know an insane number of people who are groomed or like attempted groomed online, yeah. To varying levels between like the attempt or whatever else. Yeah, it's pretty fucking common. Talk with your kid, man. If you okay, number one, communication is key. If you've got a kid, you got to make sure they trust you, man. You have to not be weird. Like, if you're, look, okay, if your kid's got internet access and they're like 16 or whatever, get over yourself. Like, yeah, they're straight up junking it because you were when you were their age. Don't be stupid, but don't be like weird or whatever. Don't like the point, what matters is that like, if anything actually bad happens, they can trust you. And that means like mutual trust and so on and so forth, right? Like you need to facilitate a relationship where if something bad happens, they can, because so many kids think like, oh, my parents don't understand or they wouldn't get it or whatever. And they just blah, you know? I hope if I ever have a kid and they end up being some weirdo online degenerate furry fucking weirdo gamer or whatever, I hope that if they ever get into hot water where they like become friends with somebody on some like niche furry cosplay site and that person ends up somehow getting their like docs and credit card info and they're like really terrified about them doing something bad with it, I really hope they trust me enough to go, hey, fucking Ian, I did accidentally da 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 da, and so now this guy from Wisconsin has my credit card details and my docs. What do I do? And I can be like, thank you for trusting me enough to tell me all this. Second of all, how the fuck did you get my credit card information, you little shit? And then I ground them forever. That's the dynamic. You build up all that trust, and then you take it away in one fell swoop. Grounded till you're 18. Stay inside. Yoink! I only let my toddler daughter watch TV, no iPad. I think that's better, unironically. Like, at least if your like kid is kind of like unattendedly watching TV, you're limited to a pretty strict regimen of the shows that would show on TV. Dude, you have no fucking idea what's going on, even on YouTube Kids. Have you guys seen that? I keep seeing videos of this on Twitter where people are making fun of it, where it's the chicken nugget going that one. The modern Elsa Gate kind of shit, where it's like content slop that's meant to get people billions in ad revenue, and the kids watch it and their brain melts. Skibbity toilet. Well, hold on. Let's not go after peak here, all right? How does Vosh not know Cotton Eye Joe? I literally just said it. What do you want? Doesn't it stunt language development? I mean, I saw a tweet saying that it does. So, why would a guy go on the internet and lie? Yeah, probably. I don't think that Skibbity Toilet is comparable. Skibbity Toilet is like weird and dumb, but it's not content slop the way that the like Cotton Eye Joe chicken nugget thing is. It's not comparable, you know? Skibbity Toilet is just like the SCP Five Nights at Freddy's React video, like YouTube creepypasta, whatever of the current generation. It's just like a new weird thing for very young people to get obsessive over and dress up for as like during Halloween, you know? Like whatever. You're telling me like if I was 10 years old, I wouldn't be like, yo, that's crazy, dude. It's literally like Gmod. I'm just happy to see the Gmod engine get some new life breathed into it, you know? I remember watching as a kid like the banana phone Gmod animation skit thing with all the funny faces. The banana phone, that one, yeah. And now it's like, okay, now a modern generation is getting in on it. That's cool. You mean Source Engine? Yeah, Source Engine, yeah. My niece and nephew are being raised without screens. It's insane how well adjusted they are compared to other kids I know with iPads. Pretty much zero behavior and developmental problems. Yeah. The iPad kid thing is like insane brain rot. You can't do that, man. You have to it's not good. It's not good. It's not good. Every one of my cousins sits their kids in front of iPads. Ugh. How do I cure myself of iPad brain? Unironically, you need to learn to do stuff with no other stimulation. Go on a 20-minute walk with no phone or music or anything. Like, you just take a walk. Do like some chores, like laundry, like folding your laundry, little stuff like that, or vacuuming with no other stimulation, you know? I know that sounds like boomer core shit, but genuinely being able to do stuff like that, even if it's a little bit uncomfortable, being able to do stuff like that is really important. They call it mindfulness. Yeah, that mindfulness is the #1 thing, because a lot of people drown out their inner voice and they're not really thinking about what they do. They just like they just do stuff on autopilot, and then all of a sudden it's 3 p.m. and they haven't eaten today. Or like it's like, "Oh, wow, it's really late and I didn't realize." They're not thinking about what they're doing. They're not mindful. Excuse me. You know? You have to be mindful. Even if you're super attention deficit and you're like jumping around and like listening to stuff or whatever the fuck, listening to podcasts, okay, whatever. It's not the end of the world. You can do all of that, all right? But you need to be conscious of what you're doing. Like, very purposeful, if that makes sense, right? Be purposeful. You should, whenever you're doing a thing, you should be thinking like, this is the thing that I'm doing, because that gives you a kind of like conscious and introspective understanding of the process and whether you're doing it well and what you should do next and whether you should be doing it at all. You always want to be doing that. And I think that some things in life make it harder to do that and be purposeful, and some things make it easier. If you have an issue with overeating or binge eating, just don't watch anything while eating. Just sit and eat your food. Yeah, fucking me when I hear there will be food but no TV or entertainment during the eating at the function. That's a difficult one. Just sitting there and eating. Food with no YouTube video. My inner voice makes me want to kill myself. You should probably work on that then, rather than just drowning the inner voice. Have a conversation with someone. I hate talking to people I eat. I've always been that way. If I'm eating, I'm eating. It's one of the reasons I don't eat on stream. I can't stand it. That's why when I'm streaming and I eat really, really fast so I can get over it. I can't stand talking while I eat. Even while I'm out at a restaurant. The anti-Hassan, yeah, I just can't do it. Is speed watching a video also brain rot? Yeah. I'm sorry, man. I'm really sorry, but yeah, if you're and Tempest, I'm sorry, but if you're like, I'm gonna fucking watch twice as much entertainment by double speeding it. Ooh, man. I mean, we all have our idiosyncrasies, right, Tempest? Is it bad to speed watch these boring math lectures? For the 50 trillionth time, when I have an issue with like speed watching, I'm talking about people speed watching entertainment, like podcasts they listen to for fun. If you're just trying to get the info from something, then yeah, that's fine. As long as you're not like missing the info. Also, if you're watching Quentin reviews for entertainment, you can speed that motherfucker up, because holy shit, does that guy draw out his pronunciation. That's like a 1.3 times kind of guy at the very least. Can I speed up your VODs? All right, you all are being silly now. We're moving on. Moving on. We spent too much on this. We spent too much time on this. We're moving on. Why is this tangled? Stop. Okay, what is this and why did somebody donate about it and why did somebody link the dono? What is this? District superintendent was pushed away from congratulating a student graduating the Baraboo High School.
Oh.
What?
Excuse me. Where's Brendan? Where's Brendan?
Get away from me, bro.
No, you need to get, hey.
Holy fucking goon phrenology here. Holy, this guy looks like, fucking, what's it, Mickey Rourke? What's the guy's name? Holy shit, look at this guy. Massive. Bro, yeah, bro is the door. This is the ant in the colony that evolves the body that allows them to, like, block the entrance to the hive. You want me to take care of him, boss? What the fuck? Double-breasted suit, too. Actually looks pretty great, in my opinion. Little small, but whatever. So wait, the story here apparently is that the dad rushed up and pushed away the black guy because he's racist and didn't want his daughter to shake hands with a black guy?
You know, racist people. Hold, please.
This is what I mean by not letting kids online. What is this? Why are we portrait moding a landscape mode, a portrait mode, a landscape mode? Come on!
Oh. Excuse me. Where's Brendan?
Man, you better get up
Where's
off me,
Brendan?
man.
Where's Brendan?
Get away from me, bro.
No,
You need to get, hey. You better go. Out right now. You are there. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't know what evidence there is that this was a race thing, even though that's probably 99% true. I will say, though, that if you see a girl who looks like this, her dad's almost certainly racist. Yeah, her expression really makes it look like she's like, oh, God damn it, you know? This must be so embarrassing for her. Is this the same school district? Baraboo School District investigates photo of boys giving Nazi salute. Oh. Oh, that's like all of them. That's all the high school boys giving the Sieg Heil. Okay. That's a lot, you know? Honestly, too much, I think. The guy in the top right. When everyone stands and cheers, sometimes the bravest thing you can do is stand still. The one kid in the front row casually waving. Well, you have to know that a lot of these guys aren't in on it, so there are going to be some people here who are just like, oh, this guy's doing the white power hand thing. See? They're all in on it. Damn, the whole graduating class, huh? All the fucking high schoolers, huh? I've seen some people on Reddit saying the superintendent was allowing bullying of the daughter or some shit. Okay, that could be true. I gotta say, though, any high school capable of producing this photo kind of makes me wonder, right? This is not a normal high school. I know people talk about, like, young men being cooked or whatever, but I promise you, the average high school graduating class of men don't all do Hitler salutes. That's not normal. What's your read on how many of these boys are Tate fans? Well, this photo was taken in 2018, before Andrew Tate was, like, cared about, so... There was an interview with the top right guy. Also the, like, best looking one here, in my humble opinion. Curious? As soon as I heard the photographer say, raise your hand, I knew what was going to happen. Ugh. Senior Jordan Blue told CBS News correspondent Adriana Diaz. Blue, who was in the photo, refused to participate. Did he say anything to make it clear that it was raise your hand in this way as in this Nazi symbol, Diaz asked. He did not say raise your hand in Nazi way, and I'm pretty sure my classmates just interpreted it as raise your hand, let's do this as a joke. It did not represent my morals, and I could not do something that I didn't believe in. Damn. So is the kid that waved just oblivious? Probably. Moments through time. They even got the black kid to throw it up. Many such cases. Oh, don't get me wrong. I'm sure that not all these kids are Nazis or whatever, right? It's like, this was 2018. This was like the height of the alt-right, haha, what if we were Nazis but a joke meme, you know? So, like, I don't know, half these kids believe it, half them don't. A lot of them pretend to believe it but don't. You know, it's like, that's the whole point. The whole point of the alt-right thing was like, what if we ironied everyone into being a National Socialist? The okay sign kid's definitely a Nazi. Yes, choosing to break with the format of the joke to do another distinguishing white supremacist dog whistle. I guess the Sieg Heil isn't really a dog whistle. Whatever. So where's the Reddit post where they were saying that this might have been like bullying or something? Also, if your daughter's getting bullied, you still probably shouldn't run up on stage to accost the superintendent while she's getting her degree. You know, that's pretty embarrassing. This link reports that it's about bullying. The father of a Baraboo, Wisconsin high school graduate went on stage, grabbed the superintendent of the school, Rainey Briggs, as the parent's daughter was approaching to shake the superintendent's hand. "That's my daughter," the father said in the video. According to Wisconsin News, a voice is then heard saying, "I don't want her touching him." Briggs responded, "You better get off me, man. Get away from me, bro." The incident occurred on May 31st. It's alleged the father was upset over how the district had handled bullying incidents related to his daughter, Channel 3000 reported. Oh, okay. Alleged how? I mean, it's possible. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just, like, kind of curious, you know? Another person wrote on the page, "I haven't seen anything that would indicate that this happened because of racism, Briggs is black, parent is white, or that it has anything to do with the recall of Kevin Vodak. The local buzz is that it had to do with bullying and the way the school handled it." Okay. I mean, I don't know.
Tonight, we're learning more information about an incident at
Loud.
Baraboo High School's graduation between a parent and the district superintendent on Friday. Our Jalen Banks joins us now with video of that incident and response from the district. Jalen?
Rainey Briggs, and hear Briggs say, "Get off me." You can see individuals take the stage, escorting him off, and multiple people moving the parent off the stage as well. And comments on social media say the parent did this in protest of how the superintendent and the district handled bullying incidents related to his daughter. In a statement from the district, they say, "Our primary focus remains on celebrating the achievements of our graduates." They continue with, "We want to ensure that the significance of this milestone and the hard work of our students are not overshadowed by this unfortunate event." The evening celebrated their accomplishments, and we are incredibly proud.
Why would the superintendent have anything to do with a bullying incident? Yeah, that's my question. Like, the superintendent's, it would be the principal normally that you would, it would be a principal thing, right? I don't know. The main thing to me that makes it think that it's more of a race thing, apart from the whole Hitlerite, like, graduating male class, it's also the, like, specifically the one black guy and no one else there. And also the fact that it just kind of seems like the thing a racist would do, but not a person who's upset with bullying. Like, a person who's upset with bullying would probably be conscious of the fact that they're drawing a huge spotlight to their daughter right there on stage in front of everyone by going up there and accosting the superintendent, and would massively worsen whatever conditions were causing the bullying. Whereas that's exactly the kind of insane, like, irrational shit a racist would do. I don't know. I mean, maybe. I don't know. Maybe. Surely both reasons can be true. Yeah, that's also true. There could have been a bullying incident and it could have been racism, right? It could have been like motivating each other, you know? Who knows? Pigeon. Also, you Americans seem to really suck at handling bullying for some reason. Can somebody explain why that is? Okay, I could be wrong here. Don't a ton of countries struggle with bullying as like a subject in school? I don't know if it's necessarily an institutional thing, or maybe it's a lack of an institutional response, or maybe, I don't know. I think it varies a lot. I don't really know what that would look like. U.S. ranked poorly for racial equity in 2023, according to a U.S. News survey. I could have told you that. Wait, ranked by perception? A global survey of 17,000 people. Rankings specifically highlight countries according to their association with racial equity. Slop. We took a poll on how people feel. People think that Canada? Oh, yeah, dude. Hey, you know what? You know what's the greatest racial equity you'll find in the world? White countries. Yeah, white countries. Yeah, yeah. Slop. Great research. Great research. Wow, dude, that's crazy. Literally every single top country is like a white social democratic country with a reputation for being like something that Americans soy over in terms of like being better than us or whatever. That's crazy, dude. It depends on your definition, Scheherazade. How many people polled were from the third world? That's a great question. Global survey. Methodology, how the 2023 best countries were ranked. 73 country attributes were identified. Various attributes nations presented a survey of more than 17,000 people from across the globe. Each country was scored in the 73... Okay. But what about the 17,000? You say across the globe. Can you elaborate on that? Choosing survey participants. A total of 17,195 individuals from 36 countries and regions spanning the globe. The Americas, Africa, Asia, Europe, and the Middle East were surveyed. Okay, but how many of them? Of the respondents, 8,200 were informed elites? What the fuck does that mean? 4,600 were business decision makers? And 7,400 were considered general public? What does any of that mean? Self-identification, demographic questions, 3 defined groups. Informed elites, meaning college-educated individuals who consider themselves middle class or higher or read or watch news at least 4 days a week. So even by self-ID, 1/2 of your respondents were college-educated and constantly up on politics? I want to know the exact breakdown of which countries. I don't think it's going to tell me. I want to know, but it won't tell me. Yep, we'd have to email the fucking people who did the survey in order to know. Yeah, yeah. No, let's not, Willis Joe. Let's not do that, actually. If we can help it. U.S. News is actually horrible. A Columbia professor wrote a piece about how all college rankings are fake and institutions fudge their numbers. Yeah, Scheherazade, I don't know. That's a very complicated question. Canadian when Canada comes up. Okay, whatever definitions you're using, whatever questions you're asking, like Canada's pretty high up there, right? Do people just criticizing the 17,000 number take a stats class? Yeah, the problem with the study is not the fucking sample size. That's not the issue at hand here. South Korea is ranked higher than the US in racial equity, according to that survey. That's crazy. That's crazy. The sample size is not enough. 17,000 is more than enough for literally any kind of sociological analysis you're interested in doing. The problem is with the entire methodology. 17,000 would be fine. 1,000 would be fine. If the sampling was random, yes. Yes. How, like, more data is good? Yeah, but that doesn't mean that you need more. Like, that's not necessarily useful data. I don't know what you guys are asking me right now. I literally said the problem. What are you talking about? You need to do a stat stream one day? I don't know. Whenever you talk stats, anytime stats comes up with stream, people just say shit. People are always saying shit. I don't know what you're saying. I don't know why you're saying it. I don't get it. Okay? I don't understand. Go to college. Hey, you guys want some good news for once? A little bit of good news, a little tasty morsel, a little treat, perhaps? I think that'd be nice. Modi, aka Indian Hitler, has won a tie matching third term as prime minister, but he didn't win by much.
The celebration went on as planned, with drums, dancing, and a band. Setting aside the fact this was not the landslide victory predicted for Narendra Modi's BJP party. By the time the Indian Prime Minister appeared for supporters, election results were sobering, pointing to a third term for Modi, but not a majority.
He has lost his majority. Now, yeah, 63 seats. For a populist like Modi, a Hitlerite like him, losing this many seats is a massive show of lessened competence by the people. You know, I think he's over. I think he's cooked. Modi is, like, easily a fascist. The problem with being a fascist in India is that India is too big and too underdeveloped to control with the iron fist that Modi wants. China, for example, right now is a little bit better at sort of maintaining the continuity of the Chinese Communist Party and Xi Jinping, in large part because they're developed enough that the economic centers of power can be kind of, at the very least, watched over by the party. The Chinese Communist Party does not have as much power in China as we often ascribe to it. It has plenty of power, don't get me wrong, but China's a big country. A big country with a lot of people. And so is India. But India is significantly less developed than China, and as a consequence of that, it is even more difficult to use the modern apparatuses of surveillance in the state for Modi to, like, really control things, you know? And the fact that he's lost a bunch of public support, as evidenced by the fact that he's lost a majority in their parliament, means that I think he's kind of washed, you know? Like, how are you going to do a Hitler thing if you don't have a blowout election, right? Can't really do it. Without the mandate of the masses, the so-called mandate of the masses, the mandate of heaven, exactly, you can't really do that populist Indian Hitler bit.
In his speech, Modi thanked the people of India and promised a new chapter for the country.
Narendra Modi and the BJP were always expected to win. The surprise here, that's...
Could you have chosen a worse place to do this recording, out of curiosity? Like any other place.
Stronger showing by the opposition to make this election competitive.
opposition parties, led by Rahul Gandhi's Congress Party, rejoiced at pulling off such an upset. Gandhi called it a fight for India's constitution, saying the poorest of this country have done this. The largest election in world history, a record 642 million voters, enduring a heat wave so punishing, officials say at least 30 election workers died of heat stroke.
Sheesh.
In Varanasi, the Hindu holy city that is Modi's constituency, voters said they worried about jobs and inflation.
Isn't it crazy that over here in America, when we see a guy like this, we have all these connotations with like spirituality, but in reality, this is literally the Hindu equivalent of like an evangelical voter who lives in like, you know, the Midwest and attends their local evangelical megachurch. That's crazy, huh? Yeah, here, this was linked a second ago, Indian Express. You can see the change in the voting block here. This is the 2024 election results by district, and then here is 2019. You might notice that Modi's orange has receded a little bit with their local parliamentary representative elections. Modi wanted a 2/3 majority to change the constitution, and they did not get that shit. Those look like gains in populated areas too. I think so. This area of India is significantly more populated, right? Over here? Tell me I'm wrong. Uttar Pradesh, yes. Gotcha. Pretty significant difference. Please, I beg of you. What? With the door being closed. Every time it opens, 1 picosecond later, the cats do something. It was a record... Oh, great. Disgusting. It was a record 52.3 degrees Celsius in Delhi a week ago. Nice. Wait, 52? Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Sheesh.
Voters said they worried about jobs and inflation.
Employment especially, and the influence on, bad influence on youth because of the social media and all.
At one polling station...
It's the same! We're all the same, man! We are one species connected by brotherly love. We're here in America, Seattle, Washington, talking about people being cooked because of social media. Fucking flash over to India and same shit.
The debate escalated between Tasneem Fatah and a man who didn't agree with her views on unity or jobs. Modi is incredibly popular, his approval rating over 70%, but critics say his nationalist politics have divided the country. His speeches ramping up rhetoric against minorities, especially India's Muslims.
He's used his cult of personality very effectively to make himself present and visible in the eyes of the voter always. It is his picture that you see when you receive benefits from the government.
Modi must now rely on the goodwill of coalition partners in order to form a government for his historic third term. The opposition here calling it democracy's victory, that he will go into it weaker.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any recovering from this. Even if he's able to form enough of a coalition to govern the country normally, like, the results here just take away so much momentum from his efforts to really consolidate power. Yeah, the coalition isn't ideological. It's not. He's not going to be able to form a 2/3 coalition that's committed to the Modi Hitlerite platform.
Janice Mackey-Frayer joins Top Story tonight from New Delhi. So, Janice, 2 questions. First, what can America expect from a third term with Modi? And the second question is, I know AI played a big role in this election. Explain to our viewers how.
Well, on your your first question, U.S.-India relations are not quite an alliance, but...
Modi's big problem is that his Hindu nationalist movement has big splits based on language, and he's taken up Hindi linguistic supremacist platform, alienating non-Hindi Hindu nationalists like Tamil Hindu nationalists who even joined the opposition coalition. Nice! Hey, who could have known that it's actually really, really, really difficult to construct like a broad, pluralistic, national unity front against minorities when you have 1.4 billion people in your country and you keep attacking, like, you keep, like, building lines and walls for people to fucking fight over, you know? Who could have guessed, man?
The relations are good, they're stable, they're expected to grow as the Biden administration looks to India to help balance China's influence in the region and as more American companies grow manufacturing here.
There's actually a Weimar comparison to be made here. In the last free and fair election in Germany before the Nazi takeover, the Nazis lost a ton of seats and momentum, nearly completely tanked. They got lucky in 33, but if the conservatives weren't desperate, the coalition with him, the move could have tapered out. Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily comparable, right? Like, Hindenburg wanted the political clout and like the fucking populist and unemployed vote by putting forward Hitler and sort of like fronting that coalition, right? That was like a move of political convenience and assumed alliance. But that was before Hitler had a chance to demonstrate what his policies actually were. Modi has. He's going into his third term. This isn't like a decline in popularity prior to ruling. This is you ruling for like a decade and then declining, right? It doesn't, you're not leading into this big crescendo. You know, you're already on the downhill slope. I mean, you can come back. It's just, I don't think that there's a point from here, at least not one that I anticipate, where the other coalition groups are like, you know, we see you losing power and we're going to sacrifice our own power, our own legitimacy in order to front for you when you're already on the decline, you know?
India has become more of a global player under Modi.
True! Indian politics summarized.
And that is due to its growing economy. But he has domestic issues that he's going to face in this third term. The biggest complication is this lack of...
Can we say something, though? Of all of the global fascist leaders, I think Modi by far looks the best. This is totally superficial. I literally just mean the man's got a good aesthetic to him. Well-trimmed beard, dresses well. You know, just in terms of, like, presentation. I'm always impressed with how handsome he is, frankly. Yeah.
The majority, the BJP is no longer the single dominant political power here, and that's not something Modi has experienced yet.
Another interesting thing is that Modi's party kept buying off MPs from other parties. The BJP party is very corrupt, and as a result, they actually cleaned up the other parties, so what's left is a good crop. Is that true? They, like, bought off all of the corrupt, shiftless reps from the other parties, and as a consequence they all locked the fuck in because they were like, all right, now we know who's in for it, you know? That is really funny. Task failed successfully. Task succeeded piratically, perhaps.
Leader. On your question of AI, that was the other defining factor of this election process, just how much money was being spent not only on digital ads, but deep fakes, not always for malicious purposes. In a lot of cases, low-level politicians were using it to speak different languages, to be able to communicate with their constituents. We kept an eye on this trend because AI has been showing up in elections all around the world, and this is a very consequential year for elections. And of course, it all serves as a big warning sign for what could be ahead for voters in the U.S. ahead of November. Tom?
Janice Mackey Frayer.
Okay, well, I don't know if that was necessarily the angle that I would have gone with, but I mean, whatever. Imagine that actually convincing people. That video convinced 500,000 like septuagenarian Hindus to vote for Modi, okay? My God. There's like 20 different ongoing insurgencies in India, including a big Maoist one. That fucking rules. Rate the fit of the opposition leader. I mean, he's just wearing a white, like, polo shirt here. It fits him well, though. Men of the West. Make sure to wear stuff that fits you, okay? It's got to fit the shoulders properly. The shoulder seam should be going right here. Whoa! Okay, yeah.
This is quite a blow to Narendra Modi, given what polling was suggesting, just how strong the results were supposed to be.
You're right. It is a huge blow for Modi. In fact, one political analyst said that this is not an election. It is a political earthquake. I mean, no one saw this coming. And the fact that the Indian stocks dumped about 8% at one time says just about everything. Now, after the vote count, this is where it stands. When it comes to Modi's BJP party, they secured 241 seats. Yes, it is,
Exactly. Remember, polling was invented by the devil. Don't believe it. If the polling could have anticipated a BJP blowout, what didn't happen, it can also anticipate a Trump blowout that doesn't happen. Okay? India's most popular pollster who predicted a Modi landslide cried on TV because he was so wrong. Man, I wish that happened with Tim Pool. What's his name? Can I see that? Also, K-Comrade Robin Hood, do you just, like... Are you Indian? You always know shit going on in other countries. You're always on your point. You just follow foreign politics a lot? I mean, I respect it. You're a wealth of knowledge in chat. 999 province landslide? Yeah.
They want their seats. So, in fact, the whole position for the BJP is in question, along with Modi's position himself. Remember that BJP is as strong as Modi. Modi came to power 10 years ago, and that brought along the power of the BJP. That is now in question. Modi
has also recently said, quote, "When my mother was around, I thought I was born of her, but since she has died, I have realized I am not a biological entity, but I am sent by God to do a duty, and I will fulfill that duty." Are we doing immaculate conception shit? Cool. I guess for Hindus, maybe immaculate conception, it's like a different thing. It's not like a Christ allegory. I think I saw this. While his mother was alive, he believed he was born biologically, but after she died, he became convinced that God had sent me, and the kind of energy that he possesses cannot come from a biological body. That rules, dude. Following up with the Indian Hitler comparisons, we have the standard Nazi esotericism. Powerful stuff. What's his religion? Hindu. He's a Hindu nationalist. I mean, he's probably himself not very religiously devout. That's it, because that's always how it is, but... Here's the clip where the pollster is crying.
Oh God! No, but the thing is, listen.
I know you get it all.
Come on. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. You know, in life you can't get all right. Okay, in life you can't get all right. There's a lot of rigor and effort that goes in, and we've been. If you look at all our...
It's okay, man. It's okay.
Posts and our coverage during the post poll also, we were constantly saying, let's not get carried away. It's a post poll. It's directional.
Pardon my ignorance. Why is this in English? If he's a super famous pollster, like, I know tons of Indians speak English, but surely not enough that it would be the preferable language to speak, right? Because of the Brits? India speaks a lot of languages. Is that really the largest unifying language? My understanding is that English is only spoken in the, like, wealthy city areas, but that most of India... Oh, God, I guess there isn't really, like, another big unifying language, right? The fucking British, man. In some regions it is. What would the most popular non-English language be? Apparently over 100 million people speak English in India, just 12% of the population, but still huge. It's just such a big country. Hindi? Okay, but by what percentage? Top languages in India. Hindi, yeah. But by how much? Yeah, it seems like Hindi is a lot more popular than English. Well, wait, for this one, it says that only a tiny percentage of people speak... Oh, as a second and third language, I see. So we want total speakers right here. Hindi has 4 times the speakers of English. So is this like a class distinction thing? The legacy of colonialism being that it's mostly wealthy city dwellers who speak English, so they speak to each other in English? Kind of like French in a lot of West Africa. It's more about education, but yeah. Huh. Like they're taught in English. In home, they speak Hindi. In school, they speak English. And as a consequence, English is thought of as like the professional language. No? Yes? Mix of both? Okay, whatever, man. It's a big country. It's a big country. Whatever, dude. That's okay. This is 2011. Since then, English has exploded. So you're saying it's more popular today than it is in 2011? Oh, yeah. Chat's so consistent. I don't blame them. It's India. Huge country. A lot of different narratives, you know, can be the case. I mean, look at all these languages, man. What the fuck? Like, in America, it's pretty simple. America's a really young country. America's official language, basically, is English. There are lots of other people who speak different languages, but it's because of immigrant groups. It's not because of, like, America contains within it a bunch of domestic American ethnic and linguistic groups that originally spoke. I mean, you've got like native tribes and stuff, but they're like a rounding error in the overall. Yeah, we killed them. We killed them. So they're not around anymore to fuck up our clean charts, you know? Hindi is a regional language. There are a lot of speakers, but almost all of them are in the north. English is more spread throughout the country. Interesting. That is so interesting. The thing is that in India, for the last 10 years, we have very little sociological data. This was a talking point for the election. When was the last census in India? It was 2011? They haven't done a new one? Bro, they've got like 500 million more people since then. Update? I guess a census of a country this large and this spread out and this, like, complicated would be incredibly difficult. Huh. This election took place in 7 phases over, like, 3 months. In fairness, the American presidential election cycle lasts 4 years, so... Heat map of Hindi speakers? God damn. Look at that. Interesting. And I guess English would be like less common overall, but more spread out. Interesting. Well, man, imagine being a highly sectarian ethno-nationalist dictator over a country like this. India isn't a country, man. India is a fucking empire. Like, Jesus Christ. It's so diverse. There are some diverse countries out there. America is super diverse, right? Brazil is super diverse, but Brazil is like still like a country, you know? I don't know what the fuck is going on in India. Yeah, you've got India's got like a whole, yeah, I guess that's why they call it a subcontinent. It's got so much going on in it. Yeah, like if all of Europe was in one country. It's crazy. Population height map. Isn't this area right over here to the north like the most fertile food floodplain in the world, or one of it? This area right here is like if you buy a packet of seeds from Lowe's and you just sprinkle it into the ground, they sprout up so quickly they hit you in the chin. along with Ukraine and Mississippi. Probably also around the Nile, right? The original breadbasket, you know, you cross the Euphrates and you've got used to be, yeah, not anymore. Not anymore, but yeah. The Nile's screwed now. Yeah, we diverted the water. The south of India is comparatively more developed than the north. That's really interesting because I don't know any other countries where it works like that, where you have like highly populated, highly dense, relatively urban, underdeveloped areas compared to less dense, less populated pinpoints of relatively well-developed cities. Because of trade ports? No, I get that. It's just usually the areas where the population like floods to, I guess. I feel like I would need to do like 50 research streams on India to even get a tiny grasp of what's going on here. Not even like contemporarily, but historically. They were former colonial trade hubs. Yeah. It's a massive, complicated country with a rich history. In terms of, like, its modern history over the past 100 years, it might actually be more complicated than China. A lot of Chinese history I know just by virtue of it being required reading for leftists, like Mao and the revolution and fighting against the Chinese imperialists and blah, blah, blah. But a lot of stuff that happened after the formation of the CCP has been, like, consolidation. Whereas with India, it seems like there's been so much... That's not a fucking competition, the Radical Dino. We're not comparing. You don't need to fight it. I should say at the very least that China's development in the past century makes a lot more sense to me, whereas it seems like India is almost senseless from a Western perspective. It's so complicated and big that I don't even really know. You fucking JoJo'd me, Lamau. I'm on your shit, Dino. Next, you're going to say, haha, Lamau. Oh, okay, close enough. Yeah, that's how life is, Ma. That's how life is. China has a history of unity. India being unified was an exception. That is true, isn't it? For, like, obviously China's borders have moved, but there has been a literally, like, millennia-long tendency for China to have some kind of unified identity, whereas up until quite recently, India was like 50 million tribes and societies and civilizations battling each other, and only very recently was there any kind of consolidation that hasn't been, like... It was more than that? More than 50 million? It was more like 3 to 4 civilizations or empires, not 60. Yeah, but even that's kind of crazy. Do you think Kashmir should join Pakistan? If it could be done peacefully, probably, yeah. India's probably a long road away from being, like, not generally Islamophobic. I don't know. Kashmir seems like... So that means no? I mean, yeah, that means no. Because it would be a war. They're both nuclear nations. So I don't want war between India and Pakistan. They want that badly enough on their own. A lot of Kashmiris want to be independent. Again, if they can do it, like, you know, without triggering a World War III, that'd be great. How the fuck did Pakistan get nukes? Didn't we do that? Isn't that us? No? Who gave it to them? British? Sorry, when I say us, I usually mean, in this context, I mean the West. I mean, like, did the West not facilitate this? Not necessarily America, I should say. Because we back their current military. Pakistan is less stable. They got their military dictatorship, whatever. I think China helped them to help front against India. That makes sense. Pakistan developed them themselves. It makes sense that China would want to support Pakistan's nuclear development, or at least like enable it or allow it, because India and China have beef, and Pakistan is a big wedge against India because they're fighting over like historically disputed territory. Yeah. Well, anyway, this guy's sad. And that's cool, I guess. In all seriousness, stuff like this gives me a lot more hope for India. India is a big, confusing, incoherent mess of a country to me. I imagine it is also that way to people who live in India. You know, it's pretty big and I can barely fathom the American political landscape sometimes, and America is far simpler than India is in terms of their like range and dynamic. You know, we have to create narratives and simplify those narratives to make things make sense from a distance. You know, I am glad that a lot of the wind has been taken away from Modi, you know? I'm glad that he's been brought down to earth significantly. Makes me happy. Makes me happy. All right. I gotta take a piss. I'll be right back. There we go.
Yeah, boy.
Man, I think I showed it on stream, but Dye Workwear recently posted a picture of a man wearing cargo shorts, and it looked so good that I want to cry, and I want them really badly. I wonder if it'd be possible for me to find and get them. They were so nice looking. Show us? Let me see if I can... Here we go. If you were here a few days ago, you would have seen me show this. This is the guy. Phenomenal, like, fatigue jacket. Drippy, tweed coat. And then this. I really like this. The cargo shorts, but they're, like, high-waisted. They have a long rise, and they go down to the knee, so they have this really clean swoop. This is, like, a really nice... Look at the threads hanging from the hem as well, you know? It's got, like, this fantastic... I actually wonder, did he cut the leg off? He might have just cut the leg off, actually, because that fringe looks like it could be a consequence of genuine wear. Ooh. Lol, old man fashion. I don't... Do you think that this is like if you saw a young guy in this, it would look bad? Because it seems like when people say old guy fashion, what they often mean is, wow, this guy looks really good. Like, this guy looks fucking really good. It's just good, you know? I mean... he probably cut these off himself. I should do that. What cargo pants could I get that I could cut off to have that effect? It would need to have the right, cut your most expensive pair of pants for it. I do have a nice pair of cargo pants that might work, but they're black, not green, and I do really like the green here. Why not just buy cargo shorts? Sure, find me some cargo shorts that are shaped like this. I mean, I obviously don't just want any cargo shorts, because if I wanted any cargo shorts, that I would just buy... There's some cheap ones at Uniqlo. Do you have, like, wax in your brain? Do you think... When I say, hey, these specific cargo shorts look really good, I wonder if I could cut them to make them look like this. And in your mind, you're thinking, you can just buy cargo shorts. What do you... If you cut them off, would you hem them? No, these aren't hemmed. They don't need to be hemmed. Have a tailor make them for you. They're not hemmed! You need to stitch after cutting because it's going to come loose. It is coming loose. There's threads coming out. That's the point. Isn't Uniqlo only in Japan? No, but that's not the point. Is Uniqlo fast fashion? No. You still need to hem it, my guy? No, you don't. If you just want it to fray, you don't have to. Wouldn't cut cargo pants deteriorate quickly? It's fine. If it's a nice tight knit, then it should be able to... Like, you're not wearing these out into the fucking outback, right? You're looking good around town. It'll keep fraying forever. Yeah, and one day you're gonna die, man. One day the fucking telomeres at the edges of the DNA in your cells are going to wear off, and every time your cells replicate, it's going to produce an imperfect copy, and your body's going to fill with dead, useless cells, and you're going to die. So why do anything? If you cut the hem like this, or and didn't hem it back over again, you could wear it for years and it would still be fine. They're literally called cut-off shorts. It's been a thing for a while. You're just saying shit, man. You yap and you yap. I saw this. Whoo, dilly. God, that looks good. Linen? God damn, man. There's some cargo pants. Found something similar to that cargo pant cut. I love you, but no. No for like 7 reasons. Do you want me to list them, or do you want to just accept the no? Uniqlo is absolutely fast fashion. No, it's not. It's objectively not fast fashion. You want to list? I want to learn a bit. Sure. The main one, A, is that these are not high-rise. B, they have stretch material. Stretch material is fucking trash, garbage, ass doo-doo bullshit. One of the best things about this right here, this is not stretch, and because it's not stretch, you get all of this beautiful texture in the pants. Notice how you have none of that in these pants? That's because stretch stuff is made for cheap and designed to, like, adhere to any body type for minimal cost, and as a consequence, it looks like ass. The silhouette isn't nearly right. Look at how this tapers, see? The taper down here means that if you cut it off at the leg, you would just have these weird little pointy triangle pants. Whereas you have these big billowing sort of outward poofing pants that have structure on their own, see? The stretch material, by the way, would not look good if you didn't hem it, because the stretch material would start to pull in the fibers of the fabric, and it would actually, like, undo the clothing. Whereas this, because it's a solid and 100% presumably cotton pair of cargo pants, it'll hold up on its own very well. First line on Wikipedia says Uniqlo is fast fashion. Wikipedia is blowing you out epic style. I'm really sorry to say then Wikipedia is wrong. Unless Uniqlo has started recently doing stuff that I'm not aware of, they're not a fast fashion brand. Fast fashion doesn't just mean, like, cheap clothes that are made in factories in Bangladesh. That's all clothes, I'm afraid. How do you define fast fashion? What qualifies as fast fashion? Historically, when a clothing brand wants to release new clothes, they pay designers to create lines of clothing. Those clothing lines are then shown off and displayed to the, I don't know, tastemakers of the brand, the people who decide what to run lines of. Usually, about 6 months before that clothing would be in season, because it takes time to construct those designs, make them mass producible, to create like the forms that are then made in the factories. Basically, that means that in winter, people show off summer clothes, and in summer, people show off winter clothes. And then they take them, they construct the designs, they send them off to the factories, and about 6 months later, they show up on store shelves, okay? But recently, due to innovations in everything and lowering of quality standards, nowadays it's like there are people who are running out new lines of clothing like 500 times a day. You know, Shein or Temu or whatever, brands like American Eagle or The Gap or what's the big one that I think of, like H&M, Zara, huge one, Zara. Those motherfuckers run out new lines constantly, and that's because they are like runway design, new trend, send to the factory, bring over here, right? It's all made like at that moment, like this time right here, this is popular right now, let's go. It's all slop. It's literally like quickly churned out, like it's basically the clothing equivalent of dumping a bunch of memes onto YouTube in like incomprehensible YouTube shorts, because you're trying to pick up on the clothing algorithms, basically. Like you're doing the clothing equivalent of, oh, these things are trending right now, and you make like AI to make like a video. You know, it's about trends that cycle in and out super quickly. The thing that makes Uniqlo different, and the reason why Uniqlo is so cheap, is because they don't actually run that many new lines of stuff. If you go in a Uniqlo store, they're selling the same basics they've been selling for decades. They don't need to do those super fast, like trendy fashion whatevers, because they keep and stick to the basic platform they've already made. If you go into a Uniqlo, you're not going to see a bunch of like crazy, super innovative, like $17 weirdly hemmed long sleeve shirt that's like gonna be popular for 6 seconds, then tossed out. You're going to see the same basics. So that's why Uniqlo's not fast fashion. They've had their same Supima shirts, the same price for like 5 years. Isn't Vosh just doing the fast fashion versus fast fashion debate? Araxio, why the fuck do I talk when people like you are just going to ignore everything that I say? I just explained all of that. What the fuck is wrong with you, man? I'm describing like materially what the difference is. They've had the same Supima shirts for like $10 for 5 years. How can you beat that? Yeah, because it's the same shirt. They're not running out new orders to like Bangladeshi factories nonstop, constantly like trying to catch up on the trends or whatever. They're just like consistently making the same things over and over. And that is why they are not fast fashion. They got good stuff. Save my ass when I need more shorts in Japan, Lamau. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I made the mistake of looking at YouTube chat. I love the fashion arc, but if I'm being real, I think Vosh just doesn't want to admit some of his purchases have been from fast fashion. Hasn't he said he's bought from H&M? First of all, what does this have to do with me buying anything? I'm just describing what the difference is in fast fashion. Like, why are you arguing with me? It's not a moral difference. I'm just describing it. Second, I have bought things from fast fashion companies. We all have. Though not recently. Pretty much just buying Buck Mason lately. And third of all, why is it like a moral thing? Like people, it's always a judgment thing. People are always like, you know, the reason he's saying this is because he's trying to lord it over us. No, I'm not. What are you talking about, man? Fast fashion. There's no ethical consumption under capitalism. It's not about ethical consumption. Fast fashion doesn't mean especially unethical. I mean, it is. But non-fast fashion is also unethical. They're also being made by slaves in basically slaves in a sweatshop in Bangladesh. You know, non-fast fashion also gets run through that ringer. It's about the design process and the way it's brought to you, not necessarily the working conditions that produced it. Fast fashion does tend to produce really low quality garments, you know. That is true. Do you shop at Nordstrom's? I used to, but honestly, I kind of hate them, like despise them now. They're mostly just like a showroom for designer brands, which means there's no store cohesion. There's no like understanding the broader fit and appeal of what's in there. There's no like understanding the language of the place. It's just you go in there and it's just a bunch of like blah overpriced slop, you know, and a lot of it's crap, some of it's not, but who knows, whatever. There's no cohesion, right? It's like going into a restaurant and getting a menu that's 16 pages long and it's all made by different chefs and some of the stuff is good, but you have no idea and there's no way of knowing what's good really without an ungodly amount of testing. I think it's better to try to stick to like non-designer stores if possible. Cheesecake Factory? Well, I like some Cheesecake Factory dishes, but yes. That's an incorrect use of the term, Pharaoh Meow, because basically all garment industry workers are abused. Fast fashion does not mean workers were abused to make this, because that's an incoherent use of the term. Like, that's the case for basically all the clothes that you buy. Wear whatever you want, the planter George. Just try to make sure shirts fit your shoulders properly. Couldn't you argue most factory workers are abused, or is it particularly bad for textile workers? It's particularly bad for textile workers. Man, now I really want those fucking shorts. Didn't somebody in chat recently link me a place that had Cass Atlantic? This place looks pretty expensive. More expensive than Buck Mason. Are these the pants? These are the pants. Those pants do look awfully good. French underground fit. It looks really good. Very cohesive. The crotch looks weird. I think that's just the way the legs are being held. The seam looks to be the inseam seems to be about the right length. I don't think they are. The original guy's pants had pockets by the cutoff. Yeah, well, they were cut off after the pocket, but you could pretty easily find something like that. I wonder if these guys have, really quick, I'm just going to check. If these guys have... Oh, fuck, their shit's not in English. They have pleated shorts. What are we looking at here? Show me a model wearing it. How do I know how it's going to fit if a model's not wearing it? Pants look great. Pants look really good. I don't see any cargo shorts, though. I like their linen trousers. That's pretty nice. Very military style? Yeah. 220 pants for some nice, high-quality linen trousers, though. Isn't that bad? Wonder how these would look on me. Hello, Ketahan. So much good drip is military style? Yep. A fuck ton of men's clothing is derivative of it, or derived from it. 220 pants, $220. Can you recommend clothing brands for plus-size men? You have to try them on in person. You shouldn't just order online. Found these relaxed fit cargo pants from Dockers. Okay, okay. Hold on. I don't think these are... they're high-rise. They're high-rise. What do we got here? Dockers is very, very, very hit or miss. too slim. They need to be built out like trousers. Closer, though. They need to be built out more like trousers, I think. Closer, though. Looks like cargo pants. They are cargo pants. All right. We should move on. We're being goofy right now. We're goofy moding. Let me see. ACLU is challenging the Biden asylum restriction in court. That's a good thing, probably. Probably good to not do bad things. I don't know if this is a dumb question. Don't you guys get clothes from India? I always hear Bangladesh most of the time. A lot of it is from Bangladesh. But yeah, Bangladesh, India, Vietnam. There's a bunch of places. I have some big oversized camp collar shirts that are straight from an Indian designer brand. Well, not really designer, I guess. Like, it's not that expensive, but called Outstro. Thailand's another one. Yeah. Vosh, he needs to get elected. I mean, yeah, he also needs to not do bad things. That would be nice. If possible. Westoids are so fucking terrified of immigration, man. Is this just an election thing then? It's a pretty impotent one. If he was going to make these changes, he should have a while ago. Yes, Beelzebub. He can revoke this, probably will after the election. It's not his fault they're Hitlerites. I don't know. I don't think this is going to win any votes. Like, at all. I don't think it's going to win any votes. Exol. We literally just had that on screen. Like, it was right there. That exact tweet was what we had. Sorry, I just got back.
Good afternoon. I've come here today to do what the Republicans in Congress refuse to do. Take the necessary steps to secure our border. 4 months ago, after weeks of intense negotiation between my staff and Democrats and Republicans, we came to a clear bipartisan deal. It was the strongest border security agreement in decades. But then, Republicans in Congress, not all, but walked away from it. Why?
You might remember this as the time that Governor Greg Abbott directly interfered with the federal government's efforts to remove the razor wire they put in the Rio Grande. And then the Supreme Court acknowledged that Biden has the authority to assert through national policy their right to be there and like not let Greg Abbott block him. And then Biden did nothing, basically giving a gigantic cultural win to Greg Abbott. Instead, Biden pivoted over to doing an anti-immigration bill that failed in Congress because Republicans were told to vote against it by Trump. And then he was like, if you really want to stop immigrants, why don't you support my anti-immigrant bill? And now we're on this, you know? That's not what happened. What detail did I miss, man? I feel like that pretty much... I feel like that's what happened. Fuck, that feels like years ago. It's pretty bad.
Because Donald Trump told them to. He told the Republicans, it has been published widely by many of you, that he didn't want to fix the issue. He wanted to use it to attack me. That's what he wanted to do. It was a cynical and an extremely cynical political move. And a complete disservice to the American people who are looking for us to not to weaponize the border, but to fix it. Today, I'm joined by a bipartisan group of governors, members of Congress, mayors, law enforcement officials, most of whom live and work along the southern border. They know the border is not a political issue to be weaponized. The responsibility we have to share.
Isn't it cool how if you talk about how this guy's probably too old to fairly be president, you get accused of being a Trump plant or a pro-Trump guy or whatever the fuck else? Like, liberals are currently running on the presumption that they can bully people who say, hey, isn't this guy too old to run, into feeling bad?
To do something about it. They don't have time for the games played in Washington, and neither do the American people. So today, I'm moving past Republican obstruction and using the executive authorities available to me as president to do what I can on my own to address the border. Frankly, I would have preferred to address this issue through bipartisan legislation because that's the only way to actually get the kind of system we have now that's broken, fixed, to hire more Border Patrol agents, more asylum officers, more judges. But Republicans have left me with no choice. Today, I'm announcing actions to bar migrants who cross our southern border unlawfully from receiving asylum.
It's not unlawfully. Once again, you have a legal right under international law to cross a nation's borders to declare your asylum seeking status at a appropriate port of entry or a police, the fucking police station or whatever else. We've done this before. We've been through all these talking points before, except we went over them during the Trump presidency.
Migrants will be restricted from receiving asylum at our southern border unless they seek it after entering through an established lawful process. And those who seek to come to the United States legally, for example, by making an appointment and coming to a port of entry.
That's what he said. They can still go to the port of entry. Yeah, but this bill is lowering the number of asylum or asylum seekers that he's processing based on how many interactions or they have with people per day, but they're turning people away who are seeking asylum too. So they're like, oh, if you're lucky enough to make it to an asylum office before our border patrol turns you away, then you better hope that we didn't turn away a bunch of other people today, or you're not even going to get your asylum seeking status processed.
Asylum will still be available to them, still available. But if an individual chooses not to use our legal pathways, if they choose to come without permission and against the law, they'll be restricted from receiving asylum and staying in the United States. This action will help us gain control of our border, restore order into the process. This ban will remain in place until the number of people trying to enter illegally is reduced to a level that our system can effectively manage. We'll carry out this order consistent with all our responsibilities under international law, every one of them. In addition to this action, we recently made important reforms in our asylum system, more efficient and more secure reforms. The goal is to deliver decisions on asylum as quickly as possible. The quicker decision means that a migrant is less likely to pay a criminal smuggler thousands of dollars to take him on a dangerous journey, knowing that if in fact they move in the wrong direction, they returned around quickly. And 2 weeks ago, the Department of Justice started a new docket in the immigration courts to address cases where people who've recently crossed the border and they make a decision within 6 months rather than 6 years, because that's what happens now. Additionally, the Department of Homeland Security has proposed new rules to allow federal law enforcement to more quickly remove asylum seekers that have criminal convictions and remove them from the United States. My administration has also recently launched new efforts to go after criminal networks that profit from smuggling migrants to our border and incentivize people to give tips to law enforcement, provide information that brings smugglers to justice. We're also sending additional federal prosecutors to hotspots along the border and prosecute individuals who break our immigration laws. One other critical step that we will be taking, and that has made a huge difference. We continue to work closely with our Mexican neighbors instead of attacking Mexico. And it's worked. We've built a strong partnership of trust between the Mexican President Lopez Obrador.
I really want to have a conversation with whatever group of voters this is meant to convince. You know, we're right on the fucking eve of the election, and it's like, what group of people are I don't know, what people are like going to be motivated to vote for Biden when they wouldn't have otherwise, based on him cracking down on asylum seekers. The niche must be so tiny. Significantly smaller than the number of people who are disgusted with him over his handling of the Gaza situation.
And I'm going to do the same with the Mexican-elect president who I spoke with yesterday. We've chosen to work together with Mexico as an equal partner, and the facts are clear. Due to the arrangements that I've reached with President Obrador, the number of migrants coming to our shared border unlawfully in recent months has dropped dramatically. But while these steps are important, they're not enough. To truly secure the border, we have to change our laws, and Congress needs to provide the necessary funding to hire 1,500 more border security agents, 100 more immigration judges to help tackle the backlog of cases, more than 2 million of them, 4,300 more asylum.
100 more judges to tackle 2 million backlogged cases.
Asylum officers to make decisions in less than 6 months instead of 6 years, which is what it takes now, and around 100 more high-tech detection machines to significantly increase the ability to screen and stop fentanyl being smuggled into the United States. These investments were one of the primary reasons that the Border Patrol Union endorsed the bipartisan deal in the first place. These investments are essential, they remain essential. As far as I'm concerned, if you're not willing to spend the money to hire more Border Patrol agents, more asylum officers, more judges, more high-tech machinery, you're just not serious about protecting our border. It's as simple as that. I believe that immigration has always been the lifeblood of America. We're constantly renewed.
There are currently about 600 of these judges. Isn't it like, does this not strike you as an insanely low number? I understand that a judge is a very prestigious office. You can't just pull people off the street. You can't just do like a mass hiring. Would it not be appropriate to maybe like delegate this process a little bit? Like you can have the immigration judges and then you can have like a bunch of like, I don't know, legal understudies who try to handle their own cases with the oversight from the judges. That way, like you don't have a single judge spending their entire day directly managing a bunch of cases, but rather have it, like there's no perfect solution here. I just know it's not possible to like mass hire 3,000 immigration judges. There literally are not the people. But 600 immigration judges for a country of 300 million? 68 immigration courts across the entire United States? Like, what the fuck? This country is huge. Would it not be expedient to process these in an orderly fashion? We could fix the entire problem like this. The whole problem. No, it's not possible via executive order. He's calling right now, though, for a bill to pass through Congress. Only 100 new judges, but 1,500 Border Patrol agents just kind of gives the game away. Yeah. Well, it's a lot easier to get Border Patrol agents because you just need to find, like, I don't know, anyone whose IQ is high enough that they can remember to breathe and walk at the same time, and you've got, like, a cop. Isn't the concept of a fast court thing in the U.S.? Fast court in the U.S.? Are you kidding me? Nothing even goes to trial in the U.S. because the backlog goes back years. Like 95% of cases get settled with a fucking plea bargain, you know? God, no.
By an infusion of people and new talent. The Statue of Liberty is not some relic of American history.
Kind of is.
It stands for who we are as the United States. So I will never demonize immigrants. I'll never refer to immigrants as poisoning the blood of a country. And further, I'll never separate children from their families at the border. I will not ban people from this country because of their religious beliefs. I will not use the U.S. military to go into neighborhoods all across the country to pull millions of people out of their homes and away from their families to put detention camps while awaiting deportation, as my predecessor says he will do if he occupies his office again.
He's so old. The best case scenario of this election is that we have to hear this guy talk like this 4 years from now.
On my very first day as president, I introduced a comprehensive immigration reform plan to fix our broken system, secure our border, provide a pathways for citizenship for dreamers, and a lot more. and I'm still fighting to get that done. But we must face the simple truth. To protect America as a land that welcomes immigrants, we must first secure the border and secure it now. The simple truth is there is a worldwide migrant crisis. And if the United States doesn't secure our border, there's no limit to the number of people who may try to come here, because there's no better place on the planet than the United States of America. For those who say the steps I've taken are too strict, I say to you that be patient. And goodwill of American people are wearing thin right now. Doing nothing is not an option. We have to act. We must act consistent with both our law and our values as Americans. I'll take these steps today, not to walk away from who we are as Americans, but to make sure we preserve who we are for future generations to come. Today, I've spoken about what we need to do to secure the border. In the weeks ahead, and I mean the weeks ahead, I'll speak to how we can make our immigration system more fair and more just. Let's fix the problem and stop fighting about it. I'm doing my part. We're doing our part.
I'm doing my part.
Republicans should do their part. Thank you very much.
He looks so lost. He looks so lost, man. You liar, sir. Trump fixed the border. You opened the border. We bow me you, gaslighter. Hate this country, man. Hate this country. Not the Fox News comments they heard. I just don't know who this is meant to appease. I don't know who this is meant to appease. I don't know who this is. I don't understand. Nothing meaningful can be done without Congress's support. Honestly, the crazy thing is that, like, there's actually a possibility that Biden could have done something that was both more politically expedient and more effective to everyone if from the get-go in his presidency he'd been a lot more gung-ho about allocating for like a harsher border policies, but in a way that Congress would be agreeable towards. He would only need a few Republicans, and it would involve, like, you know, immigration judges, investment court, stuff like that. I don't know. This feels like a last-second correction in a way that's not even going to work. Whatever. There was a little more to the video. I thought he responded to a question. Is there? There's 20 seconds left. I thought I was just going to watch him sort of, like, flounder like a fish.
Playing politics with the war.
What was that?
I asked her, is Prime Minister Netanyahu playing politics with the war?
I don't think so. He's trying to work out a serious problem he has. Thank you.
Okay. The slow turn. Okay, the slow turn smile combo worked well. The slow turn not smile combo is very creepy. Very creepy. Lamau, that's comedy. Yeah. Do you want to see some comedy? Lesbian dating app to use facial recognition to exclude trans women from matching with biological females, from the Daily Mail. And this is, I'm not kidding you, this right here apparently is the lesbian who made it. Now, I don't want to be mean. I do want to be mean, but honey. I don't know if she's got a tower, but I'm definitely seeing a clock here. Be honest with yourself, man. Look, guys and girls just don't look that different, you know? I don't... Just get over yourself. Jesus. I don't think she passes. We literally have data on this. The hyper-vigilant policing of trans women leads to a lot of butch cis women getting fucked around with at bars and like nightclubs and stuff. Like the most supportive group of the group that is most supportive of trans women is lesbian cisgender women, right? When you see people complaining about trans women, it is like 100% of the time, it is like fucking guys or straight women conservatives who are pretending to be queer in order to, like the woman who leads the Nazi lady who leads the Gays Against Groomers, you know? Yeah, because like, what about butch women? You go to a lesbian bar and all the dolls there are looking for a girl who looks like a guy and wears a strap. Like you like, come on. And what is the formatting on this website? I can't like zoom out. It's got to take up the whole screen. The first dating app for lesbians is set to launch. This is probably not the first dating app for lesbians. Using sex recognition technology to exclude trans women and ensure only biological females can't sign up. Brainchild of feminist campaigner Jenny Watson. Crazy. Who says there are no dating apps which cater purely for women who want same-sex relationships. Current COVID dating apps are increasingly being used by males who identify as female and who say they too are lesbian. Many such cases. Lap will use facial recognition technology to verify a person as a biological female. Ms. Watson said would-be users will have to go through a process where they sign up, where the app scans their face via their smartphone. Yeah, you keep saying the same thing over and over again. And then the picture again. Is there any more information to this? The software, which Ms. Watson claims is 99% accurate, analyzes features including bone structure, shape, and positioning of an individual's eyes, eyebrows, and nose shape or size. You guys ready for a bunch of clocky and or passing trans girls to post their screenshots of them using the Le app fucking phrenology scanner to see whether or not they pass according to it? There's going to be a trans girl going like, yo! And it's going to say they're a cis female, you know? They're already doing it? Good. You ready to get POC to get flagged by the app? Yeah, stuff like this almost always trains its base on white women. So, yeah, probably going to get that as well. The AI said that that she was a man. Hold on. What is it? Jenny Watson. What? Is this real? Dude. Woman. Man, is this real? There's no way. That's too convenient. There's no way. I want it to be. Probably not, but it's extremely funny. Yeah, I want to see an actual evaluation of the reliability of the technology. I believe. I can't be real. It's too good to be real. Oh, Jenny Watson. I remember this girl. She was the one who was whining about, like, lesbian bars or whatever. And by lesbian bar, she meant ones that would specifically kick out trans women. Last night, we pulled off the comeback of our lesbian speed dating event. In just a few hours, 20 women came together for a fantastic celebration. We mingled, we laughed, we danced well into the wee hours. Wow, this sounds like a terrible time, huh? Who describes a speed dating event like this? Together, we affirm our lesbian spaces. Cancelled, not our style. Okay. She's a professional transphobe. I mean, yeah. No one dances anymore. True. Because of woke. Developing a digital space and venue for lesbians, the real kind. And we have some kind of like AI slop. Coming to you from Scotland, no man can be lesbian. They just make it their entire life. It's their whole fucking life. It's kind of like the Christian homophobes being secretly gay thing, where the more you're a cis lesbian who makes being transphobic the identity, the more I think you kind of secretly want to touch a dick. Like you're obsessed. You literally won't stop talking about it. Every day you wake up and you're like, I'm going to tell everyone that I don't want to see any penises in my lesbian dating app. Okay? Holy shit. It's your whole life. Is she arguing right now that the app confirms that she's female? Well, her social app lived up to their word, ish. Registered last week and banned today for stating men can't be lesbians on profile. Your account is on hold due to your network connection. It's her whole life! You talked before about her bar speed dating ban for trans women. Like, you can't even get that mad about this. Do you know how few anti-trans lesbian women there are? You're isolating yourself from the vast, vast, vast majority of your allies culturally. Lesbian, not queer. The anti-trans lesbian meetup. Yeah, here's Glinner. Jesus. Oh my god, he looks wild. I can never get over his fucking face. Mostly men, Lamau. Well, no, this is with Turf Day celebrations with Miss Polly Clark. It's their whole life. They literally have nothing else. They don't have any other opinions. They don't care about anything else. There are no other issues that interest them from a while ago, but this is how they party. What is this? Juan yours? Is this a turf event? I feel like we all let the gender-critical witch flash mob in George Square for COP26 pass by too easily. Oh, because, like, these witches don't burn? The flash mob of, like, 6 people? 10 people? What the hell does that mean? They're like the Salem witches who were burned at the stake for nothing because they think that you can't have a penis and be a woman or whatever. All right, man. It's the vagina cult shit? Yeah. This is just another version of, like, people who fucking despise men, usually because of some kind of trauma, and dump all of their emotional and intellectual energy into believing that having a vagina makes them like a fucking gift from God to the universe or whatever. What do they talk about at that kind of event? I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. They talk about how they don't like dick and how men are bad. They talk about how men are bad. They wouldn't, it would fail the Bechdel test because that's all they would talk about. Does anyone remember that section, that bit from Preacher, where the Ku Klux Klan guys are talking and they're like, yeah, that other guy, all he talks about is how he hates black guys. Like, that's, and then he's like, isn't that what we're here for? And he's like, no, that's all he talks about. Like, the other day, I had a great conversation about catalytic converters with Johnson over there. And then the third guy comes back and he's like, hey, boy, I sure do hate black guys. And it's like, what do you... It's off-putting, man. Uniqlo equals fast fashion. Why are you arguing with me? Why do you care? It's not about how ethical Uniqlo is. It's a purpose. It's a statement of their process on how they like design their stuff and put it out there for batch. It's not about environmental impact or labor conditions. That's not what it means. Animal welfare. That's not what it means. At the end of the day, Uniqlo is still very much part of unsustainable fast fashion industry. Its promotion of disposable fashion and constant rotation of new trends. What? Okay, wait. Was this written by AI? Uniqlo? Constant rotations of new trends? Have you been in a Uniqlo? They're incredibly consistent. They have like box shelves of the items they've had there for a decade. They're one of the most consistent. They're literally known for being very consistent with their basics. What does a Uniqlo store look like? Uniqlo stores are literally organized like a fucking like warehouse, basically. Look, this is a Uniqlo store. Oh God, why is that super low res? Give me like not low res, please. It's all like super orderly. Like, this is the pile where the t-shirts are. This is the pile where the V-neck sweaters are. Like, this is how it's organized. It's not like, oh, here's like a bunch of new trend type stuff. You literally go in there and it's you know everything that's in there. It's minimally designed. It's designed almost in a very like warehouse fashion. They sell shirt, and the shirt they sell is like shirt. That's what they sell. We've been over this. Maybe the women's section leans more trendy. It doesn't. It's the same thing. She says the LAP has been developed in response to many lesbians finding they were banned from existing apps if they dared to specify that they wanted to date only natal females. The crazy thing to me is that, like, they can't even not sound like a freak. Can't you just say, like, I'm not really into dicks? They always have to sound freaky with it. Natal females? Why are you talking about how people were as a baby? That's crazy. Sounds like some Nazi phrenology shit. I mean, it's not a coincidence that some of the most loud and active TERFs, like Polly Parker or whatever, whatever the fuck her name is, openly ally with Nazis. The obsession with essentialism, the belief that you're fighting against degenerates who are trying to subvert society, like, it's, you know, there's definitely a parallel there. All right. I think we need to give up on any hope of today's segments being productive. I'm going to read donations. Etsabo, thank you for the $5. Enjoy your paddleboarding in the middle of a lake in McCall, Idaho. I'm glad you enjoy my commentary. Hyperion99, thank you for the tier 4 sub. Really appreciate that. Forgot to turn on auto renew, so might as well go up a tier. Thank you. Genuinely, thank you. That's very, very kind. Really appreciate that. Soli and Cactuson, thank you for the tier 1 subs. Likewise, Sumer Leftist and Son of Ra. Juzor, thank you for the gifted tier 1 sub. And Leafar, thanks the 5. I did go over that segment. Jake County with the $10. Don't trust anyone from Wisconsin. That's pretty true. TD Shum, thanks the tier 2 sub. Started watching Dungeon Meshi on your rec, and it's making me want to run a D&D campaign entirely focused on food and cooking. Yeah, go for it. It's very D&D core, you know? Very D&D pilled, I'd say. Soy Milk Tea, thanks the tier 1 sub and the $10. Honestly, Uniqlo staples have saved my life. Did you know you can get 4-foot-long blue tongue skink plushies? I mean, I figured you probably could somewhere online. I didn't really think about it before. But yeah, Uniqlo staples are pretty good. Oh, wow, those are super cute. I love blue tongue skinks so much, man. They're so goddamn cute. Fat little idiots. Snake. Blorp. Facetious the $5. The lesbian equivalent of Grindr should be Scissor. The app name is a missed opportunity. That woman can't even do branding well. Yeah, lap. Lap. There we go. Lap? What the fuck does that even mean, man? What are you, French? Disgusting. Appalachian Anarchist, thank you for the 5. Here's 5 for pushing me to start having more self-control and discipline. I needed it. We both need it, brother. We're all struggling out here, okay? Okay, the reason Vosh is getting frustrated is because in a recent stream he said old tailored custom clothes are expensive and well made. Unlike this cheap fast fashion stuff, this one is on him. No, it's not. You should be able to differentiate adjectives and understand there's a correlation between fast fashion and poor build without like assuming that fast fashion means sweatshop labor. That's not that's not a correlation that I drew. Basically, all clothes are made via sweatshop labor. You know, Buck Mason has some fabrics made in America. Not that you care. You know, they've got some mills at least making the fabrics in America, and some of them are even like sewn together in America. Though that's relatively uncommon. Pretty darn uncommon. Prayer Fire, thank you for the $10. Northern India along Himalayas has very good soil due to mineral-rich melt from snow and glaciers. They also retain a massive agricultural worker base, so rural density is high. Climate change will end this? Yeah. That'll be like a fucking... That'll be a rough one, man. Yeah, blue tongue skinks are pretty smart. They got feelings and shit. Unseelie, thank you for the $5. Really appreciate that. Making you feel seen. My pleasure. I can't actually see you. I can see your donation. But yeah, no, I'm happy to make you feel seen. Thank you. I appreciate it. Audrey, thank you for the 5. Vosh, this is very left field, but any advice for a 23-year-old autistic trans girl starting college this year for making friends? I trust your advice. You shouldn't. I've never been a trans girl. I've been 23 and I've been autistic. I've never been a trans girl, you know? Not a perfect one-to-one, like, experience comparison kind of deal. But if you want my suggestion, you have to put yourself out there, okay? Make an active, conscious effort to communicate with your professors, to try to get in on, like academic opportunities, and try to see what's going on in the area. Don't be too embarrassed to put yourself out there. I promise you the other college kids, unless we're talking some sociopathic frat dynamic, I promise you they've got their own stuff going on. They're not so obsessed with what you're doing and what you're all about that they're going to get like weird and prejudicial about you making an effort to socialize and try to integrate yourself, you know? You can do it. I believe in you. Also, if you're in a college town or in an area with a lot of college students, apps like Grindr and Tinder and Hinge can be pretty good for finding friends as well, not just hooking up. Like, seriously, there were tons of people who were just, like, making general connections off of Tinder when I was in Humboldt, you know? Because it was just all college students there, so it was like, you know, whatever, just an opportunity to directly communicate with people. On Grindr? Yeah, on Grindr too. Diego B with the $5. Recently, I learned dumb flip phones nowadays have Google Maps and YouTube on them, and honestly, I feel like that's perfect for a kid. YouTube, no, YouTube you got to cut. Google Maps is fine. That's pure pragmatism. But YouTube, that's social media too. Vosh, you're so right. I'm literally listening to you right at my job right now. Ah, well, you know, happy to keep you company during work, you know. I keep me company during work. Yes, you will meet true friends at furry meetups. Yeah, that's true. That's pretty true. It's pretty true. Can straight people use Grindr? Yeah, you just have to be some kind of queer, basically. I mean, honestly, there are straight cis guys that are on there, like, to fuck trans women, too. So, yeah, it's a whole environment. Either way. All right, folks. You know what comes next? I'm going to send you guys over to... Surprising dearth of people online right now. Isn't it just a regular weekday? Is there like a holiday? What's going on with that? Well, whatever the case may be then, who should I... I don't have anyone to host right now. I guess you're all just going to the void. Sorry. I'll return and I'll take you guys from the void soon. Okay, tomorrow. But in the meantime, Luxander, Lucy Hayes. Well, where are they? Are you just saying people? Darmgar TV is streaming. Oh, wait. That's right. Hold on. Dara is trying to move people over to its new account. Is it streaming there currently? It is. All right. I'm going to send you guys over there, okay? Because on this account, it can monetize. I'm going to send you over. I'll see you soon, okay? All right.